Get ready for FanFlow, the ultimate way to experience live music. With FanFlow, you become a part of the show. Connect and share with fellow fans who love the music as much as you. Control what you hear, control what you see, and record it so you can relive those amazing performances wherever and whenever you want. Before the show, you decide the playlist and interact with the venue. During the show, you share your experience, buy what you're hearing, and hear what you want. FanFlow gives you the superpowers you wish you could have at a live performance so you become a part of the experience and connect with your favorite performers.
And welcome to the MMA Power. So glad to have you all with me. Colin, Crandall here coming at you once again with a fantastic show. I'm so excited that we were able to get these guests. And so why don't we just jump right into it. Our first guest is someone I've really been trying to coordinate schedules and finally did, so I'm super excited. She is the king of the cage, Atomweight champion. We're talking about none other than Andy the Crazian Nguyen. Welcome to the show, Andy.
Hi, thanks for having me.
My pleasure. How is everything going today? I think you're over in, you're on the East Coast somewhere, right?
Yes, I went to Myrtle Beach to go see my son, and then I took a detour down to Orlando, Florida.
Cool.
And then I was actually flying back to Dallas uh, tomorrow morning really early, and I was going to cross train with Karen Kovac. She's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, and we we competed in Naga together before against each other, and she won silver medal. I won bronze.
Cool.
But she's really, really good, and she's going up against Tonya Evinger's ex-girlfriend, Stephanie Alba, on a pro BJJ match.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, so that's kind of cool because I've been, I fought with Alba twice. So it's kind of cool.
That is cool. I didn't know your jits was that good. That's cool.
It's not that great,
Yeah.
but
It sounds like you're not a beginner, and that's really cool because, as you know, people would be surprised. There are some great fighters that are lighting it up on TV, but they're still like blue or white belts in BJJ, which is not bad because they can be amazing if they're, really athletic. But yeah, some people are actually a little bit more experienced jits people, and usually your fights end up pretty much on the feet a lot, but it seems like on the ground you're cool. Or do you really prefer the fight to stay on the feet?
Um, I'm pretty well rounded by now. I just don't ever when I get on the ground. Sometimes I lose focus, and I'm starting to get more comfortable and getting better scrambles, and and I finally got my first submission win as a professional. So out in Tokyo, Japan. So that's awesome.
Very awesome. Happy to hear that. And so let us know a little bit more about you, Andy. Everyone sees that you're doing such great work in King of the Cage, and you're super popular and a super nice person and involved and really, cool to your fans and everything. And but how did you come to be a fighter fighting a King of the Cage? Take us back several years. Yeah.
MMA was legalized in South Carolina about 7-8 years ago, and I went to my first event. It was sold out. I didn't want to go. I didn't want to see two half-naked guys fighting. It just seems, I don't know. It's
Right.
not like a real sport to me
Right, back
at the
then.
time.
Right.
And because I didn't know what was going on. And then these two girls came out at 115 pounds. It was Jordan McDonald against Crystal Parrish, and I ran over to my son's father because he's the one that got me the ticket. He was with his fiance at the time, and I was like, I've got to do this. So then 3 months later, I won my first amateur fight, and I've been hooked ever since.
Right on. Very cool. So the first time you saw it, you could tell it was for you, huh?
Yes.
Excellent. And you're based in Texas, and do you have a training school there? I know you're also training with one of our friends and your good friend Andrea KGB Lee in Louisiana. Is that your primary school, or do you train somewhere out of Texas where you live as well?
No. I'm not from Texas. Andrea's from Atlanta, Texas. I was born in Hollywood, California. I lived in LA till I was 13. Lived in South Carolina till I cross trained over to Louisiana where Andrea is, and then I finally made the move probably like 3 years ago, two and a half, 3 years ago.
Oh, so you
Something
are
like
based
that.
in Louisiana now?
Yes.
There we go. I knew it was something that had something to do with the same as Andrea, and I know she's in Louisiana now, but she was from Texas. That I'm right about.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so I said to myself,
I will correct you on that.
Yep, you got it right. And so I was trying to put two and two together, and I'm like, I know they have one of those states in common, and I picked Texas. 50-50 chance that I got the wrong one. Perfect. But that's cool. So you're over there, and I guess Karate Mafia is the team where you and Andrea train mostly, right?
Yes. We do a lot of cross training, and a lot of females, high level amateurs and professional females come cross train with us. I was basically the main one that started going over to hers, and then I guess more people start coming, and it's been great just having different bodies and different styles.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It helps, really, doesn't it, to get a different look, because if you're constantly knowing what someone's throwing at you, you know, it almost can start to get stale a little bit. You can't really improve your game that much. It's kind of fun having different looks, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, speaking about training, you have not only one fight, but I think you have a couple of fights set in the two organizations you fight for. But let me let you tell our listeners about those fights and the when and the where.
Okay, well, King of the Cage just did a press release today, and I'm fighting August 12th in Niagara Falls, New York. Be my first time in New York. I hate that athletic commissioner, but
yeah.
There's so many Vietnamese gamblers been requesting me.
Nice.
Like, they've been telling King of the Cage, we want to see Andy. We want to see Andy. So I already have fan base out there, so I have to go out there.
And you are and sorry to interrupt you, but you are, I think, either the only Vietnamese female champion or even the only Vietnamese female high-ranked fighter. Tell me, which is it?
Well, Nguyen is the second female that's Vietnamese. You know,
right.
Same last name, that
Yep.
chick that I just beat.
Yep, in the win-win situation, as the promoter
Yes,
put, right? Yep.
that's it.
That's cool, but you've already got people wanting you there in the Vietnamese community, and that's really cool. And so, again, that's in Niagara Falls. That's you defending your King of the Cage Atomweight title. And what was the date on that again?
August 12th.
Very cool. And then continue.
And on the press release, it was to be determined for the opponent. It's actually Melissa Karaganagis. It's actually my first professional loss to a split decision.
Oh, wow.
So so it's another rematch.
Nice.
So it'll be fun. I mean, and she's a very marketable girl, really pretty girl, and it's going to be a good fight. It's going to be a hard fight for me, definitely. No fight's easy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have October 15th, the open round for the first ever women's Grand Prix at 49 kilos. Not kilos, kilograms. Oh
right.
My God, did I just say kilos?
That's okay. No, 49 kilograms. No, that's totally cool. And that's in Ryzen, right?
Yeah, that's Ryzen, and that's in it starts with the F. It's not Tokyo, Japan. It's like Fukuoka or Fukuoka. I don't know.
Right. I think it could be Fukuoka. And that's cool, and that's October 12th. And
October 15th.
October 15th, very cool. And do you know, is the 49 kilograms, is that right around 105 pounds, or what is that weight? Do you know?
It's 108 pounds, so those 3 pounds means the world to me.
I bet. Yep, you can be a little bit more relaxed. Yeah, absolutely. That's cool. I'm glad you get that extra allowance there. And have you ever fought in Japan before or in Asia?
Yes. I won my first submission win in Tokyo, Japan with Ryzen against Miyu Yamamoto, the 3-time world champion as a wrestler.
Oh, wow.
And it's Kid Yamamoto's sister.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, I'm not kidding. I can't believe you didn't do your homework.
I know. I'm so sorry. I'm embarrassed.
I'm disappointed in you.
Hey, there was a 4th of July holiday in there, everyone. If it weren't for that, I would have.
Are you hungover then?
Well, maybe a tiny bit. Oh, you're right. My bad on that. I really appreciate that information because I didn't know that, and definitely she's got some skills if she is the sister of Kid Yamamoto, because he was such an amazing fighter. And for so many years, but I think you can do it, and so that is the one that is the rematch of your first loss, the one in Ryzen, right?
No, no.
Again,
no. Melissa Karaganagis will be the one for August 12th.
There we go.
And the opponent for Ryzen has not been announced yet.
I gotcha. Okay, very cool. So the one on August 12th is going to be the rematch where you can get one back that you lost in your first pro loss, and then the opponent in Ryzen yet to be determined. And so you did fight, though. Now I'm getting in here. You did fight, though, in Japan, and you did beat Kid Yamamoto's sister over there before. So you're comfortable fighting in Japan. And how about the jet lag? Do you think you know how to deal with it from your first experience there, or it didn't bother you too much? A lot of people really wonder, and fighters never usually end up talking about it too much.
I
What do
fought
you
it.
think?
I fought around 3:30 a.m., 4 a.m. in Central Time, which is where I left. So I was kind of jet lagged, but right when I got to Tokyo, Japan, I started running at those hours
Good.
just to try to get used to it.
Mm-hmm.
But everything was such an exciting experience that I hardly ever slept, anyways.
All right, I can imagine. And I have a feeling you're pretty well received there. I think they respect a lot of fighters as long as they fight hard, don't they, in Japan?
Yes, the fans are great, and they're very respectable and a whole lot more conservative than the UFC fans. They're not like drunk and screaming kill her, punch her in the face,
Right.
But
Right.
they're more. They look at it like it's more like art.
Yeah, and I agree. And that's one thing that I've seen for years. I was a big fan of Pride, and I remember that they really would be quiet, and they'd be cheering at the right time, and they wouldn't be yelling crazy things or obscenities, and that's cool. You'd hardly ever hear them booing. So no, I think it's the martial arts, I think, emanating from, I think, Japan and Okinawa, and they really have that respect, and so I think it's universally pretty much a good experience for fighters, isn't it, over there? Andy? Okay, so it looks like we had a little bit of a technical issue right here. Just heard from my producer, and it looks like we had lost the Skype. Okay. Okay. Anyway, so we're going to reconnect the Skype. Sorry about that, everyone. Things happen. Hey, good to see you guys. Welcome. And do we have you back, Andy? We don't. Okay, so we're working on getting the Skype back with Andy Nguyen. Want to apologize. We're in a new studio here, and we have a better setup, better equipment. But just setting everything so that it works sometimes does take a minute. So what I'm going to do is telling you that our producers are working to get Andy Nguyen back, and hopefully she will be answering the Skype. In the meantime, how about the fact that we've got two great events coming up here? We have a Friday event and a Saturday event. So many people, when this happens, only end up rethinking that there's one UFC event and miss an entire event. So you guys got to know, if you don't already, that we have a double header, a UFC Friday and Saturday. So it's not Saturday, Sunday, as it usually would be, but we've got a Friday event and a Saturday event. The Friday event is the Ultimate Fighter finale, and so you see the main event is going to be the first fight in the UFC for Justin Gaethje, the Violence Master, I think he's called, or Master of Violence. I think he's used both, against Michael the Menace Johnson. That should be an absolutely crazy fight, so you don't want to miss that. The co-main is going to be the top two finishers at the Ultimate Fighter, and then basically we're looking at some good cards. Some good fights after that. I know we have Elias Theodoro on there and several good people. And then Saturday, UFC 2, by the way, that will be a free card. Saturday, UFC 213, is the pay-per-view with Amanda Nunes and Valentina Shevchenko. Super, super exciting card there. You know who else is on it, but I will tell you, we have Yoel Romero against Robert Whittaker for the interim middleweight title while Michael Bisping is healing up. And then you have Alistair Overeem against Fabricio Verdum as well, and several other really tough fights on that card. And let me check and see. It looks like we're having some trouble getting Andy Nguyen back, and so let me ask my producer, are you wanting to possibly have my help to see if I can facilitate that? No? Okay. So we have a problem with that. So what I'm going to do is apologies if Andy's listening. We hate when anything like this happens, and I don't know why, but there's some Skype issues, and we definitely will reconnect with Andy Nguyen and apologize. Really was having a good time chatting with her, and hopefully we should get her back shortly. So it looks like I just got a message from my producer, and so what was that again? Can you tell me? Okay, so basically it looks like the Skype fell off on Andy's end, and that's why we're not able to reconnect. So in any case, bottom line is, we do what we do to provide a great show. So just to let you guys know, hopefully we'll get her back. If we can't, we'll have her on another show. We have Andrea KGB Lee coming up. We have the champ Tonya Evinger coming up, and by the way, Andrea also the champ, LFA champ, and top 5 Invicta contender. We have Tonya Evinger, who is fighting Cyborg. You guys going to be at that fight? I will be there. That card is lining up to be one of the craziest, sickest cards ever. John Bones Jones in the rematch against Cormier on the top co-main. Tonya Evinger challenging Cyborg for the vacant 145-pound Featherweight Championship. Damian Maia challenging Tyron Woodley for the Welterweight Championship. Donald Cowboy Cerrone going up against Ruthless Robbie Lawler. I mean, come on. Those 4 fights could all be headliners, as we know, on any card. And you have even more. I know Ricardo Lamas is on that card, and other people, so that's going to be amazing. Speaking about cards, on the card here for tonight, along with Andrea KGB Lee and Tonya Evinger, we do have Antonio McKee, who will be introducing one of the hottest prospects in quite a while, along with his son AJ McKee. But this is Joey Davis Jr., prolific college wrestler. This guy has absolutely amazing talent and potential. Hey, we're seeing if we can get Andy back, and hopefully we did. And let me see, do we have? Okay, we tried, and once again we didn't. Okay. Anyway, so a great show coming up with you. So let me basically say that that we have some amazing fights coming up in all organizations. Have you guys heard of that Professional Fighters League? You guys know World Series of Fighting, WSOF, that was on NBC Sports Network with Justin Gaethje as the lightweight champ, with Marlon Moraes as the bantamweight champ, Sugar Ray Sefo being the president of that organization. I don't know if you guys know, but it looks like the WSOF is going to cease activity and morph into the Professional Fighters League. This is a league that has a really cool concept. They put out several press releases over the last month where they said everyone signed to their league is going to get at least 3 fights per year guaranteed. Every fighter is going to be getting a paycheck every month. And a lot of other good things, and they're going to be having it in kind of like a tournament style, maybe similar to how Bellator was the first few years, where you actually everyone had a chance to get up and earn a title shot. And I think they're saying it's $1 million payday for the person the person that earns the title shot and wins. And so that looks like an organization that's really going to be taking care of fighters in a way that is really precedent setting. And that's what we need. I think you guys, I mean, we're seeing the huge paycheck that Mayweather and the McGregor are going to be getting, and we're hearing that some MMA fighters at the very top are getting these great paychecks, but so many of them aren't. I mean, the bottom line is $3,000 or $5,000 or $8,000 to win 8 sounds good to a lot of us, but it really isn't when a bunch of that has to be paid out to managers, training partners, possibly hospital bills, and you end up maybe with like $1,000 for your effort, or even less than that in some cases. So we're wanting to make sure that the biggest organizations out there see that other organizations are willing to put some money forward and make some guarantees to fighters, because it's dangerous out there. It really is. I mean, it's the bottom line is, can some fighters make it through their whole career without any severe injuries or bad injuries or too many concussions? Yeah, but most don't. So they're really putting it out there on the line for us, and I know everyone agrees that we want to make sure that they get taken care of, for sure. And I think that has to be something that hopefully we'll see. Okay, and we are hoping against hope that we'll have Andy win. Here, we hear the phone ringing. That phone is ringing. We're hoping to hear the lovely voice, and instead we don't. Okay. Anyway, you like that? My producer's laughing on that one. Anyway, so basically, we're really excited about Professional Fighters League. John Fitch just beat Brian Foster in a tough fight. Some of you may have seen. Ronnie or Hani Marks beat Smiolino Rama, a tough guy. And they've got some pretty tough people signed there. Ray Cepho still involved. Carlos Silva, some really good people over there. Greg Savage, and a lot of great people that are going to be, leading the charge for the PFL Professional Fighters League. So check that out, and you get to watch it in HD on NBC SN. So a lot of people didn't even know they had that channel. I remember when I first heard someone was saying, "Hey, World Series of Fighting is on NBC," and I'm like, "What the hell? How are they going to put World Series of Fighting on NBC?" And I'm looking, and I'm like, it isn't the World Series of Fighting, is it whatever it is, day and nighttime soap opera. And I'm sitting here thinking, what the heck is anyone talking about? Then finally they said, no, it's NBC SN. And I'm like, NBC SN? What channel is that? And I finally found it up in like the 1500s or whatever the heck it was, and there it was. I think it was first only in HD, and then they made it both in regular and HD. But yeah, NBC Sports Network is the home for Professional Fighters League, and was the home for World Series of Fighting. While we're working on fervently and feverishly to get Andy Nguyen or figure out what we're going to do, I will also tell you that we have some really amazing fights, and I want to tell you guys what I'm thinking. I don't know if you know this, but Robert Whittaker has now been made the favorite over Yoel Romero, and it's really interesting because most everyone that we've talked to on the show are picking Romero. I mean, it's not as many people picking Romero to beat Whittaker as it is picking Floyd to beat Conor, which is about 99% of every fighter out there, but majority are picking Yoel Romero. So not like I said, not advocating gambling, but almost seems like you're getting a dog who should be a favorite in Yoel Romero. I don't know if you guys have been watching the Embedded series, but it's pretty cool. Both are really good guys, really popular guys, amazing athletes and determined guys, different skill sets, but very, very focused, and really an interesting fight. You got a New Zealander raised in Australia, I believe, going up against a Cuban who's been in America for many years, and so you got that good international flavor. Both absolutely huge, hugely supported by their home countries, and really an interesting fight. And you know what? I just read the other day that Jacare, who lost to Whittaker on a fairly sizable upset a few months ago, has picked Romero to win. I think the way he phrased it was, if Whittaker can just keep it on the feet and pick him apart, that's possible win for Whittaker, but that he gives it to Romero. And I think he's thinking to himself that Romero didn't have the jits that he had, but had better wrestling and hit harder. And I think that might be the difference. Not only that, but I don't know what you guys think. I think that Romero is probably looking at that Jacare fight as a blueprint at what not to do with a guy as crafty as Rob Whittaker. So what I think that what that means is that Whittaker's the counterpuncher. Whittaker's crafty. Whittaker's a really good striker. He's going to give a lot of movement, and I think that Romero is going to try to maybe keep the pace, maybe not gas himself out. I think that what ended up happening with Jacare a little bit was Whittaker used like he was at a bullfighting match and had the red cape or towel, whatever. I think it's cape. I should know. I'm sorry, but and was letting Jacare kind of charge in like the bull, and he was playing the part of the matador. And I think that Romero's obviously going to be briefed on not to play the bull in that, and I think it means he might try to use his wrestling a little bit more than usual. I think he's going to have to, and then put his weight on Whittaker and try to kind of lay on him, get him in the clinch and grind him, and kind of try to burn out Whittaker's arms a little bit. And I honestly think, even though I think he hits harder and he knows he hits harder, I really think this might be an occasion where Romero really does try to focus on some takedowns. If you look at the Embedded, he has been doing some amazing training where he's having 8 or 10 guys in there and just taking down one guy after another and throwing one guy over his shoulder and it's hip throwing another guy and, taking this guy down, that guy down, single leg, double leg, pretty interesting clips. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. I think if he can establish that and he can make Whitaker tentative, then I think Whitaker is going to be in a little bit of trouble. And if he's tentative, then that's going to, let Yoel Romero dictate the pace. So, okay. So we are going to be making something happen in about 10 minutes. And so I'm going to try to be as interesting as I possibly can. I would have loved to have taken questions, but my phone battery died. One of those crazy days after the holiday. Can you guys relate? It's just basically you get everything planned after a holiday to take care of everything. Get up early in the morning, get all your work done, get all kinds of crazy stuff you couldn't do on the holiday, go to the bank, deal with this, deal with that, post office, and everything, and you're totally focused how you're going to get all of it done, and you barely get any of it done because of all kinds of crazy things going on. So that was kind of my day. I don't want to go into it too much, but made it here in time for the show. A little bit of a drive to the new studio, but that's the important thing. And then Murphy's Law have our first guest, the wonderful Andy Nguyen, disconnected on the Skype and not able to be reconnected now. But anyway, we're doing our best. We're gonna be picking it up with a great show. But let me give you my thoughts on a couple other things also. Justin Gaethje against Michael Johnson. That's such an interesting fight. That's the headliner on the free card on Friday. I mean, if you look at that matchup, you look at Justin Gaethje as a guy who admittedly wasn't fighting the same level as opponents that Michael Johnson has fought. He just hasn't. But he was fighting some pretty scrappy guys, especially his last couple fights, and some crafty veterans. And he really proved that, that he keeps his composure. He's got a chin made out of granite that maybe touched a little too much for probably a lot of people's liking, and probably not wanting it to get touched as much in the UFC. But he can take a punch. He's really durable. He's super exciting. He's a Division I, top quality wrestler. I'm not sure if he was. I'm sure he was All-American. I don't know if he was national champion, but definitely an amazing wrestler. Young guy, personable guy, super athletic, and just really hungry coming to the UFC after 3 years of probably watching a lot of guys he was training with fight in the UFC while he was over there at WSOF, and not a lot of people seeing him or knowing who he is. And here's his chance, and he wants to make a really, really big impression against Michael Johnson. And Michael Johnson is basically looking at it like they're setting him up maybe to be a stepping stone for Gaethje, and he's saying not going to happen. He really seemed like he was angry and taking it out on Justin Gaethje, and it's probably because he hears the talk, he hears the banter, saying pretty much that's what it's going to be. He's going to be the welcome to the UFC party for Justin Gaethje, and he's talking about he's not being a stepping stone for anyone, and that very well could be, because he's a super athletic, super talented guy. His wrestling's tight, his striking is really good, really fast, good movement, and he did come off being ragdolled by Khabib Nurmagomedov, but for the most part, who hasn't been ragdolled by Khabib Nurmagomedov? Hopefully, he puts it out of his head. I would think probably Gaethje's corner probably are going to maybe want to try to do that, to try to take him down and control him. I don't think they'll be ragdolling him like Nurmagomedov, but they might try to maybe put that back in his head. A couple of fighters I've talked to have said if Gaethje can do that and start grinding him, he may just not feel like he can recover again, take him out to that bad place he was at in his last fight. But if Gaethje can't do that, it's going to be a really tough fight. I would say that Johnson is faster and definitely has better head movement, but that's such a hard fight. I mean, I like both guys. I've been a fan of Gaethje for so long. I kind of would like to maybe see him win his debut, but I actually hate for Michael Johnson to lose this fight, because he really, I'm sure, was hurt by losing that fight so badly to Khabib, and another loss is not going to help his career, and he's a really talented guy. So, what can I say? Be curious to hear your opinions. You guys want to, shoot them out there, and I can look after the show, see how many of you guys think Gaethje wins it, how many of you think Johnson win it, how you think the fight's going to go down. Other than that, the women's fight is going to be really great. Both those women look like they're just completely on point with their training, and they both wanna win this fight so bad. I think after seeing Amanda's fight with Misha and with Ronda, I think, and those were both legit opponents, but I think that Ronda was completely outgunned on her feet, and Misha also toward the end of her career just wasn't able to handle that power and the length as well. But I think it's going to be interesting to see someone in a firefight with Amanda Nunes who is firing back, and I think we saw it to a good extent in their first match, and I think Valentina Shevchenko has become even more comfortable with fighting in the limelight and the hot bright lights and all the press, and I think that she's going to throw down even more. I remember that one person said that she goes in one gear. Actually, I think it was the champ, Tonya Evinger, in the last time we had her on. She said she's kind of a robot, Shevchenko, and just will keep coming forward and executing her plan, and that maybe Nunes might have the advantage in being able to shift gears and change it up a little bit. But both rugged, determined girls, and I honestly have a feeling that could be one of the fights of the night. It's unusual when the main event is the fight of the night, but I guess it does happen. And to me, I think there's a very good possibility of that, or Romero and Whitaker. And then we got Overeem against Verdum, another a rubber match. I should have looked, but I'm almost positive Verdum won in Pride. What I gotta say, like 8 or 9 years ago. And then Overeem winning in Strikeforce like 4 or 5 years ago. So it's really interesting. It's almost like every 5 years these guys are fighting. This will be for the third time. But it's going to be a really interesting matchup. Obviously, you don't want to be on the bottom against Verdum for sure. And even if you're on the top on the ground with Verdum, it's not that great. The advantage that Alistair has is that he's equally as long as Verdum, and also he's got his grappling down. I think Alistair has several wins by submission. I think choke is his favorite, and so I think his jits is pretty tight. It's absolutely not all world like Fabricio Verdum, but I think he's prepared. I think he may not get smoked as long as he's on the top position, scrambling and maybe not sitting in Verdum's guard too much. But on the bottom against Verdum, you don't want to be. That's for sure. And that's going to be an interesting match. It's ironic there because you got two guys both coming off of knockout losses. And so they're both going to be really determined, I think, not to lose. Again, it's so competitive nowadays. And one of the things I think we see with the UFC is that a lot of people after 2 losses are being cut. And to me, it's unfortunate, especially if someone has several wins in the organization and they're losing only to the best guys. But I think they've got so many people on their roster that decisions are being made to cut someone earlier than they should be frequently. And you'd really hate to see it for a former champion like Verdum if he just had 2 losses there, or for such a long time top contender Overeem, even though this would actually be more losses. So you know what, maybe Overeem may be in more danger if he loses this fight. So hopefully they both fight hard. I know that over at Jackson Wink, our friends are over there and they say Alistair really is a nice guy. And and so we wish him well. I also know someone that knows Verdum and says that he's a good dude too. So hopefully we'll see really good fights there as well. We were gonna ask the opinion of Andy Nguyen on some women's fights, and so being that we were going to ask her about them, maybe even without her, I can let you guys know what I think. Angela Overkill Hill coming up against Ashley Yoder. Tough fight. Angie Hill is just so tough. Yoder is tough too. She wants a win. She's coming up, but I just think that's a fight where Angela Hill is just a spectacular fighter. And and I think that she wins that fight. 125, no, not 125. They're bringing Joanne Calderwood back down to 115 to fight Cynthia Calvillo. I don't know. I think that 115 is really a hard cut for JoJo Calderwood, and she's not that she's old, but as you get older, you tend to gain a little bit of weight and bone density and like that and get a little bit thicker. So I just don't know about 115 for Calderwood, and Calvillo seems to be on fire. Only thing I can think of is if the Scottish superstar Calderwood can keep that fight on the feet, maybe she can light up Calvillo. Hard to say, but that should be an interesting fight. Tisha Torres being given, I think, only a few weeks' notice, going up against Juliana Lima. Torres is a fairly sizable favorite there, and I think she can win that fight too. She's so balanced. She's such a good fighter. She's a great striker. Her balance is so good on her feet. It's hard to take her down. Strong hips, great movement. On the ground, I think she doesn't panic. I don't think she likes to stay there for long, but I think she can scramble, really good scrambler to get back up. And Lima, though, is a strong, determined girl who really wants a win. And so I think that's actually going to be a really, really tough fight. And then how about our guest coming up in about 40 minutes or so, Tonya Evinger against Cyborg. I'm hearing a lot of people feel that every Cyborg fight is going to be the same thing, a blowout. I really don't think so. And I'm not just saying it because Tonya's on the show. She's been on the show before. Tonya's wrestling is going to come into play in that fight. I really think that Tonya has a legit chance to win that fight. And I honestly think, the wrestling is a big part of this. A good wrestler who's a grinder, who's confident, who's tough, and especially one that's won 11 fights in a row, is really composed, like she and I talked about last time she was on. Her head's in a really good space. She was saying a lot of the girls, because we're talking more about women's fights, are not able to keep it together every single fight, and then she admitted that was like her as well years back, but she's been just doing it consistently and reliably, showing up every time now for several years, and I think that's a good fight. I think there's a really legit chance that Tonya Evinger wins that fight. Haven't seen any odds. I don't know if you guys have or what opinion you guys have. My thought is this. My thought is they're probably going to make it Cyborg minus 500 or minus 600, and I'm not the expert on what that corresponds to with Evinger. I don't know. I'm probably off here, but I guess if it might be minus 500 or something, Cyborg, it might be plus 350 or something. Evinger probably off on that, but I mean, to me, that's a bet for Evinger. To me, I think that it really shouldn't even be that big a difference because Evinger is live, and I'm curious to see where the money comes in. But I have a feeling some late money is going to come in on Evinger, and a lot of people are talking about the size difference. And granted, Cyborg is a big 45er. She was always saying walking around at 168 or 170. I believe to make the weight cuts easier, and since she came down to 140 a few times, I believe she's probably walking around a little bit lighter. Maybe I'm wrong, but I wouldn't be surprised if Cyborg's walking around more like 162 or 163 or 4 or something like that lately, maybe even 160. And so I believe if she's gonna weigh in somewhere in the 160s, it's gonna be low 160s. I believe the day of the fight, and then I think Evinger probably maybe will be 10 pounds less, or maybe not even. And not only that, I honestly, it does give Cyborg a size advantage, but I think Evinger can handle it. I really do. She's tough and she's gritty, and I'm really looking forward to talking to her about that. And so that's gonna be that card is just so amazing. I'll tell you what, I wish I somehow had like cage side seats for that, because that's just more and more good fights. I mean, how many more great fights can they put on that 214 card? So I'm really excited about that as well. Let me check real quick with my old buddy here, our lead producer. We were a couple minutes before we're going to try our next guest. We haven't been able to connect with Andy at all, pretty much. We haven't. Okay. So I'm thinking what we might do is maybe go to a commercial break and then see what we can figure out. What do you think about that? Let me check. My producer says he likes that idea. So let's do that. We're gonna take maybe a couple of minutes here, 2-3 minutes, and be back with you after these brief messages. I want to thank Fuji Sports and CombatPress.com. Fuji Sports, put in the code Power Hour, 15% off. Amazing gear. Combat Press website, you guys got to go for all your great MMA and combat sports information. We will be back after these messages.
He's too handsome. He's too handsome for Hollywood. He's too sexy. He's too sexy for his own good. This is the King of Connecticut, Matt Granahan, host of The King's Court, telling you to go to the Amazon Kindle store and pick up a copy of my new book, Too Handsome for Hollywood. The World According to the Suntan Superman. With the foreword by the UFC Hall of Famer, Dan the Beast Severn. He's too handsome. He's too handsome for Hollywood. He's too sexy. He's too sexy for his own good. Yeah. $9.99. Pick it up today. Too Handsome for Hollywood. The Amazon Kindle store. You'll be glad you did.
Hi, my name is David Fimbras with Boulevard Moving. We're a 5-star moving company here in Southern California with offices in Arizona and Nevada. We cover local, long-distance moving and your full storage needs.
Why choose Boulevard Moving? Well, that's simple. We offer 5-star ratings in local directories, information and guidance throughout the process, certified moving consultants, expert packers, and movers. 24/7 availability for moving and packing services. Highly recommended among the area's most prestigious realtors and estate managers. Our mission is to deliver superior customer service and to provide the highest level of quality workmanship for the physical movement of goods. We strive to maintain a level of communication that eliminates the stress and inherent concern people have when hiring a moving service, be it residential or commercial. Call us today at 844-274-0500 or visit www.boulevardmoving.com.
Founded in 1969, Fuji Sports is your #1 source for gis and grappling gear, specializing in superb customer service and high-quality judo and jiu-jitsu uniforms at competitive prices. Fuji Sports is a proud manufacturing partner with many established organizations throughout the world, and is also a proud sponsor of U.S. Olympians, BJJ World Champions, and MMA superstars. Fuji Sports offers gis, rash guards, t-shirts, backpacks, shorts, gloves, and more. Visit fujisports.com to buy or customize your own gear today.
Get ready for FanFlow, the ultimate way to experience live music. With FanFlow, you become a part of the show. Connect and share with fellow fans who love the music as much as you. Control what you hear, control what you see, and record it so you can relive those amazing performances wherever and whenever you want. Before the show, you decide the playlist and interact with the venue. During the show, you share your experience, buy what you're hearing, and hear what you want. FanFlow gives you the superpowers you wish you could have at a live performance so you become a part of the experience and connect with your favorite performers.
And welcome back to the MMA Power Hour. Thank you guys and girls so much for staying with us. We have an amazing rest of the show here, and I am so excited to say we have one of our favorite guests and one of my favorite fighters. She is the LFA Flyweight Champion of the World, top 5 contender in the Invicta Fighting Championships. We're talking about none other than the super awesome Andrea KGB Lee. Welcome back to the show, Andrea.
Happy to be here. How is everyone?
Doing very well. How about you?
Doing good.
Awesome. And you had a great 4th of July, I heard, huh?
Yes.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. So we have a lot of great stuff to talk to you about. We know that your fight was announced, and I'd love to have you announce it here, the where, the when, the who.
Well, Davina Maciel from Brazil. She's 6-1, and she's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and a brown belt in Judo.
Oh, wow. Another grappler, right?
Yes.
Nice, nice. And she has she fought for LFA before?
She has not. I think this might be her first time in the States. So it's something that she's always wanted to do, is come to the States and fight in America. And, hopefully she makes it over here and we get to fight.
Yep, I hear you. Is there much footage of her? Were you able to watch her fight a little bit or grapple or something?
We watched a few videos, but we haven't got to, we haven't seen too many, but we've seen enough.
That's good. That's important.
Yeah, we've seen enough.
Cool. And how are you feeling? It looks like this fight is indeed going to happen without you having the surgery. So obviously you're fighting, a bit injured, but have you been healing up a little bit as days go by? You feel okay at least?
I've been doing what I have to do, training a particular way and keeping my cardio up. All in all, I'm doing good. I mean, my back still hurts. It's not like it's not one of those injuries that's just gonna go away.
Yeah.
It's kind of a nagging thing. I mean, it happened last year, so I've just kind of been dealing with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can. That's one of the good things about the experience you've had with the Thai, the Thai boxing, Muay Thai fights and other stuff, is that through all the fights you've had, I'm sure on several occasions you fought with some injuries. This may be worse, but, I have a feeling that it's not scaring you. It's not going to throw you off too much, and I think you can still do your thing, huh?
No, this is definitely the worst. I mean, but I've competed with other injuries. That I've just never really made any of my injuries public, obviously. I mean, that's kind of that's what most people, I think, do. Right. But, at least I think.
You're right. I think you're right.
But, for me, I just feel like the adrenaline's going to kick in during the fight, and I'll be able to push through it, and that's what I normally try to do.
Yeah, I think so, too. Well, a lot of people are cheering for you, and I think you're going to do great.
Thank you. I hope so.
All right. And so that is going to be, that is, we know, for LFA. And once again, where and when?
July 14th at the Palm Factory in Dallas, Texas.
Okay. And that's July 14th. So we are talking about a week from Friday. No.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Yes. Very cool. So it's a Friday, cool, in Dallas. So anybody that can get there, you want to get there, I would imagine maybe there's some tickets still available?
Yes, there are still some tickets available. I'm selling them. I think that the venue's pretty much sold out except for the tickets that the fighters have. And so I have, what I ordered, and I'm selling those stuff. Anybody wants tickets, I've been mailing them out to people. I've been, sending them. So let me know.
Let us know the right way to hit you up about those tickets.
Well, you could you contact me on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, even Snapchat. All of my social media outlets are under the name Andrea KGB Lee.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, you guys really should do that. LFA is a great show. Ed Suarez, who is one of the most respected men in the industry, is the guy running that. He was Anderson Silva's manager and probably every top Brazilian's manager back in 2007, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 has focused for the last few years on promoting, and the LFA show is a huge show. The UFC takes it very seriously. Bellator takes it seriously. Invicta. So it's a great show, and I think they're still being pretty reasonable with tickets, and you get to see fantastic fighters like Andrea here. And so, if you can make that, I would highly recommend you do it and hit Andrea up for tickets, and you'll not only get tickets, but you'll let Andrea know you're there cheering for her, which is always a good thing. Not that she's going to have time to run out in the audience and shake your hands or anything like that, but
I will after the fight.
Yeah, after the fight, right? Yeah, you never know. So check that out. So what else is going on? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say it will be aired on Access Television, so if you can't go, you can watch it on TV.
That's right, and it's live on Access, right?
Yes, live on Access.
Very cool. Very cool. You guys got to check that out because most cable providers and satellite providers have it. And if you haven't heard of it, Access is AXS, Access TV. And before that, I remember years ago, it was HD Net. Remember that, Andrea, or is that going back too far for you?
Ooh, probably a little too far for me.
No problem, no problem. So you have access.
No, it does. HDNet sounds familiar, but I don't think I ever watched it then.
Yeah, no problem. It was going way back there. But yeah, well, we look forward to that a lot, and I will definitely be watching. I wish I could make it out to the venue, but I will be watching it on Access TV. And
Awesome.
yep, absolutely. Always supporting you. Always excited to see the great fighting that you do. So, anything else interesting on your mind? I wanted to get you to give some opinions on some upcoming fights, but before we do, is anyone else fighting that you want to shout out? We were talking to Andy Nguyen, and for everyone to know, she did mention that her Wi-Fi just broke down, and that's what that was. Not that anyone's trying to throw blame on anyone, but just that you guys know we're doing everything we can, and we will absolutely have Andy back. She is so cool, and she did mention, Andrea, that she actually has 2 fights signed. She has a rematch of her first loss set in King of the Cage for August next month, and then she's going over to Japan and fighting in Rising.
Yes.
Yep. So we are all definitely going to be supporting her, and I know she's right there with you. And she's in Louisiana, and that her regular training is with you at Karate Mafia, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Awesome. So absolutely, we're going to be supporting her. Anyone else that you want to shout out? I guess Amanda's fighting. Belle is fighting in Bellator. Is that what, a couple weeks from now?
She's fighting the same night that I am, and that would be who I was going to give a shout out to, Amanda Bell. She is fighting the same night as I am in Oklahoma for Bellator.
Right, absolutely, and she's up against Alexandra Dufresne, right?
Not anymore. Now she's fighting crap.
That's okay. I put you on the spot. I'm sorry. What happened to Dufresne? Again, the weight wasn't going to work out. Do you know? I hope not trying to shout out weight problems with Dufresne, but any idea?
I can't. I think that she just. I don't know. I think something like I think she had an excuse, or maybe they lost contact with her or something like that. I'm not sure.
Right. Okay.
Like it just.
And it was Alexis. It was not Alexandra. I think it was Alexis Dufresne or something like that. But
Yeah, I think that's who it was. But who they're fighting now, I can't. Like, I know her name. Yeah. Like, I'm friends with her, and my brain is gone blank. I can't remember at the moment.
No problem. No problem at all. That's all right. Not a problem at all. And so that should be a good fight. And we've actually talked to Amanda. She's going to come on after the fight, and we're going to be happy to have her. And she's exclusively also Karate Mafia, or are you just one of the places that she trains at?
It's one of the places. She came and trained here with us last year, and she liked it, so she got to come back and do some of her fight camp here.
Cool. Very cool. Well, we'll definitely be cheering for her. Looking forward to having her on. So let me ask you, there are some interesting fights coming up. You always give great opinions. I know you admitted that your favorite thing is not breaking down necessarily the fights, but you've done them so well, and your opinion is so valid and so on point that I'd love to ask you opinions on some upcoming fights, if that's okay with you.
Okay, that's fine.
I appreciate it. I really do. Okay, so what do you think? And I know you're watching men and women's MMA, right? Or is it really much more women?
It's mostly more women. I do watch the men, but I watch most. I mean, if they're one of my favorite fighters or something like that.
Absolutely.
I'll watch them. I'll pay attention. If I know them, I pay attention.
Makes sense. Yeah. All right, so what do you think? Let's go into, and I know we talked about Shevchenko and Nunez, and I think we may have broken that down a month or two ago. That's going to be an amazing fight. You want to maybe just give a brief insight on that, and if you have any predictions?
Well, it's hard to say who I think is going to win. I just know that Shevchenko has been working her ground a whole lot more this time, and I feel like she did good in her first fight against Nunez, and I just think that now that she's had a couple of years to train her jiu-jitsu, and obviously it's gotten better because she won recently by submission.
Yes, I
think it's going to be a tough fight. I mean, Shevchenko's good on her feet. I mean, she's very technical. She has really good counter punches. Nunez is very aggressive. She likes to come forward. Shevchenko has really great sweeps in the clinch, so it's just hard to tell. I mean, like, I don't know how great Shevchenko's ground game is at this point, but I think that it's probably going to be good enough to maybe go the distance. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think when they fought last is maybe 2.5 years ago or something. And,
yeah.
Right. And I think I remember that they said that Shevchenko was the one coming on strong at the end. And I think they're probably different fighters since then. Both of them a lot more seasoned. And right, and then let me ask you about this. I remember years ago being a boxing fan, and I haven't heard this phrase coined that much in MMA, but I remember in boxing, these old legendary commentators would say, when someone has a title belt around them and is coming in as the champ, they're going to be like 25% better because they're going to fight so hard to keep that belt. They're going to realize that they're the top of the heap. They're going to have that added confidence. They're going to feel that added pressure to really perform, and their camp's going to rally around them. Have you seen that or felt that, or do you think that relates at all to MMA as well, being just better once you are a champion?
Yeah, I think it just makes you want to. I think it probably does make you train harder. You know that you have more rounds. Mm-hmm. Every time that you fight, you're going to have to fight 5 rounds.
Yes.
And they're going to be throwing the toughest people at you. So yes, you have to train harder than you ever have, because you're no longer going to get fed easy opponents. Everybody that you're fighting and everyone you face will be in the top 10, top 5. The number 1 contender. So they've all worked their way up there. So I mean, they're hungry for it.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you have the title, you have to stay hungry and and train your ass off, or else you don't want to lose that title, because that's your moneymaker.
Yep. It means so much, especially in MMA.
So I think it does make you a better fighter.
Makes sense. And Amanda's so confident. I mean, after blasting out Misha first and then Ronda, I just think she's just confident she's going to destroy,
I think so.
whoever's in front of her.
But you know what? And I was just talking to, my friend Kendrick about that, who just walked by here just a second ago. Mm-hmm. He's one of my training partners, also one of my coaches. Cool. We were talking about how she's, Nunes is always bragging about how she beat Ronda Rousey, but Holly Holm was the first one to beat Ronda Rousey.
Yes, that's true.
And I feel like, she did so much damage on Ronda Rousey that, it was just, and she exposed her, that I think that it just made it easier for Nunes to go in there and take her out. I mean, she was already gun shy. You could tell at weigh-ins, and you can tell, her walkout, and when she stepped into the cage, like, she was already defeated. I mean,
yeah, it's too that way. Yeah.
I mean, that fight could have been totally different if Holly Holm hadn't have beat Ronda Rousey, and if Nunes had fought Ronda Rousey. I mean, it could have completely been a different fight. They could have ended up in the clinch. Who knows? Ronda might have taken her down and gotten an armbar.
Yeah, I think you're right. Very, very good point. And then she beat Misha Tate, who was pretty much at the end of her career when she beat her. Yeah. So those are good points. Those are good points. Not to diminish the wins, but
not at all.
But it does.
Great win.
Yeah, they were. But definitely it does. It wasn't like her fighting against a woman who she's fighting now, who is at the top of her game, who is mentally strong, who hasn't just been beaten down or is ready to retire. So, yeah, I think that's going to be a different challenge. And Valentina is so tough. I mean, you know what I love in the footage? Those spinning back fists that she does in her training.
Yeah.
If she can...
She's sneaky with those.
Yeah, she really is. And she's got that great movement. I think she must have been some sort of a dancer. You see where she does that ballet pirouette afterwards once in a while? She's got some serious coordination. And her sister is another world Muay Thai champion. That's what I like. 2 sisters. I should say that's what I like, because people are going to call me on that. That's what's interesting. These 2 sisters are beating the crap out of each other, in training, but are there for each other 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be pretty cool. Can you imagine if your sister, blood sister, was like a top high-level fighter? That'd be kind of a trip, wouldn't it? You could train like that.
I think it would be great. I mean, you have a great like a forever training partner. I mean, like, that's awesome, because most women are having to search for other females to compete and not to compete, but train with, right. and they have each other. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think she's going to be, she's going to be ready. That's going to be a great fight. And I don't think it's going to be walkover for either one. I think, they may get their main event check and also the fight of the night check very possibly on Saturday night, huh?
Yeah,
Yep. So
Probably so.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Good chance. Now, what do you think about Cowboy Cerrone, another cowboy hat person like yourself, against Ruthless Robbie Lawler? Are you familiar? I'm sure you're familiar with them. You know either guy personally? Are you cheering for either one, or can you be objective on a breakdown? If so, on that.
I'm cheering for Cowboy Cerrone, but I just I know both are really tough competitors, and it's hard to say. I just know that all I can say really is that it's going to be a tough fight for both.
Yeah, and that's also could be a fight of the night if they throw down and if they can both hang in there and go back and forth. Yeah. What do you think? I think I asked another top fighter this question. One of them is in the position where he did fight hard, but did then get beat down by Jorge Masvidal, and there's no shame in that. Masvidal nearly beat, and some people feel he did, Damian Maia, although he didn't get the decision. But what position do you think is going to be harder to have kind of being finished in a beatdown in a long, arduous fight, grueling fight like Cowboy was, or just being caught with a huge punch like Lawler was against Woodley? What do you think is harder to come back from, or a worse position to be in as far as a fight?
Probably the knockout, because even though you might have gotten robbed, maybe you feel like you won a fight but you got robbed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that will always eat at you probably, but I think that getting knocked out is harder to come back from.
But which knockout do you think is worse? A knockout with one punch, like Lawler was the victim against Woodley, or getting kind of knocked and just beaten down like Cerrone was?
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Shit, both are hard to come back from.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Tough.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
It was. Because I've never been beaten down, and I've never been knocked out.
Right.
So
that's true. That's hard for you to say.
Wood.
Hopefully you won't be. Yep, exactly. Hopefully you won't be.
Yeah,
but they. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say both seem like they'd be difficult to come back from. I mean, unless you're a fighter,
Yeah.
You gotta pick yourself up, lick your wounds, and then get back into fighting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get back to it. That's what we do.
Absolutely, that is true, and that's going to be an amazing fight. And then, are you familiar enough with the middleweight fight to mention to have any thought with the Australian Robert Whittaker, who upset Jacare, going up against the Cuban Olympian Yoel Romero? Familiar enough with those guys?
Not familiar enough. I know both. I know their names, but I'm not familiar with either one of them really.
No problem. And then, you know what I'm going to do? Got some women here that I was going to ask Andy. How about here's some women that you are definitely familiar with from Invicta. How about JoJo Calderwood, Joanne Calderwood against Cynthia Calvillo, or are you familiar enough with Calvillo? She's been kind of on a tear in the UFC.
Who did she just recently beat?
Ooh, you know what? She beat Pearl Gonzalez, and then she beat Amanda Bobby Cooper.
Okay, Amanda Bobby Cooper. Now, I'm still really not that familiar with Cynthia's style. I know that she submitted. Didn't she submit Amanda?
She did catch both of them. Both of them, I think.
Yeah, she caught her in the first round pretty quickly.
Somewhat, yeah, possibly.
I don't know. I think JoJo's stand-up is going to be way better than Cynthia's, but it seems like Cynthia probably has a pretty solid ground game. So maybe if she's able to take JoJo down, take her out of her element.
Yep. And this, I think, is at 15, which kind of surprises me. I don't think 15 is a great weight for JoJo, is it? Or do you think it's okay since she's fought there several times?
She's fought there enough. I feel like she's too fluffy at 125.
I see. Makes sense. Okay, so tough one there. Maybe on the feet. Calderwood on the ground could be trouble. But JoJo seems like a good person. Did you ever have a chance to chat with her after an Invicta fight?
Well, she was already in the UFC whenever I went to the Invicta.
That's right.
So I never got to meet her.
Gotcha. Okay, how about Angela Overkill Hill and Ashley Yoder?
Okay, Ashley Yoder. I know both girls. I don't feel like I'm familiar enough with Ashley Yoder's. I'm not sure what her skill set is.
Right.
But I know what Angela Hill's good at. She's good at it on her feet. So if Ashley's any good on the ground, you know, she'd probably get her on the ground and make it difficult for Angela.
Right. But Angela's amazing, and I think Angela has the experience advantage, and I think is just an amazing fighter, and I think a fairly big favorite in that one. But Yoder's tough.
Yeah.
Right. How about moving on?
Like I said, I'm not very familiar with Rotor, so
yeah, no problem.
can't
Ashley.
give a very educated opinion.
No problem, and I like that honest answer. How about a short notice fight, Tecia Torres against Juliana Lima? Or are you familiar enough with Lima?
Juliana Lima. Oh man,
know, another
killing
one.
me.
She hasn't
yes,
fought too many.
I know Lima, but I mean, like I've seen her fight, but I still like it's like I haven't seen her fight enough.
Yep, me too. Same thing. And
I know Tecia, but I haven't seen Lima fight enough. It's I don't just play on YouTube all day, you know, and watch all these girls fight like I should.
Yeah, no, not necessarily. You're doing your own thing and spending a lot of time training. So yeah. Do you know what though? Do you think? I mean, Tecia is so great on her feet, and I believe she's okay on the ground. Usually on the ground, but she tries to scramble up. But do you think she'll be okay if she's on the ground? Ticia's so really seasoned veteran, kind of now in top level, isn't she?
Wait. What was your question?
I was saying Tecia Torres probably would be okay even if she's on the ground, even though I don't think she plays jits that much. But I have a feeling Tecia is kind of going to be okay no matter where you put her, because on the ground she just scrambles up, right?
Yeah, she's well-rounded. You know, she works wrestling a whole lot, and she's been training with Sharon Jacobson. You know, she's down there. She's in Colorado now.
I think
so. And Sharon Jacobson's a fantastic wrestler. You know, she's been training on the Olympic wrestling team, and has even tried out for the Olympics multiple times.
Oh wow!
And I mean, so I'm sure that her wrestling is probably looking pretty sound right now. Ticia's is so. Yeah. Might be. This fight might stand on the feet.
Yeah, it could be. And also, I know she trains with her partner, who I think is her wife, I think now, Raquel Pennington. Mm-hmm. And she's got some good grappling, you know.
Yeah.
You know, so definitely I think Ticia's a really good fighter. And then the guest after you, we have Tonya Evinger in a huge fight against Cyborg, replacing Megan Anderson. And I think that's going to be exciting. Love to have, as I say before, the KGB breakdown on Evinger and Cyborg.
You know, I'm friends with Evinger, and I'm a big fan of Cyborg.
I know.
And this, it's going to be a tough fight. I mean, Evinger, you know, I mean, she used to fight at 125 a long time ago. I mean, she could still be a 125er, so she's going up a lot in weight. Yep. I mean, obviously she's been fighting at 135. She's a 135er, but she's still going up a lot in weight.
Yep.
And but I think that they're about the same. Are they about the same height?
Pretty close. Maybe Cyborg a half an inch taller, 3/4 of an inch.
Yeah. But Tonya Evinger, she's a really good wrestler. You know, I mean, she really is, and she's a you know, she's a gritty fighter. I mean, she brings it. So, I mean, she can take some pretty hard hits, but so can Cyborg. I mean that fight that Cyborg had, that Muay Thai fight against
Jorina Bars, right? Yep.
Yeah, that was a tough fight. I mean, she took some hard kicks to the face. I mean, like it was I don't know. I mean, Cyborg's going to be tough. It's not that I can't give like an educated opinion on what I think. I just, you know, I don't want to say what I think. But I think that it's going to, you know, I mean, if someone can beat her, maybe Evinger can. I think Evinger can.
Yeah, she's tough. I like Tonya. She's been on the show before, and she's coming up next. And I like her. And not only that, but really,
I love her.
Yeah. And the wrestling, honestly, I think will be prevalent. I don't think Cyborg has faced a wrestler. In fact, she has not faced a wrestler of this caliber. And that's just the reality. That's one of the things. Cyborg is great and you know, and tough and amazing, but it seems like most of the women that she fights, they're not high-level wrestlers, so their thought somehow is either to outstrike Cyborg or try to like finesse her by staying on the outside, or maybe hope that their, you know, somewhat decent grappling can work. And that just doesn't work. This is going to be the first person that's going to be going in there saying, hey, I'm going to take her down, period. And,
well, that that last girl that Cyborg fought was a Russian girl, you know. I mean, and we saw that. That girl took her to the second round. Wasn't it the second round or was it the third? I can't remember. But she kept on holding on. She got her against the cage, holding on to her, kept trying to take her down. I mean, like, and her, I mean, she wasn't even that great. So, I mean, I feel like if she was able to do that, then Tonya Evinger can do a lot better.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's going to be a really good fight. I think Tonya stands a really good chance of winning, and you know, that would be a really amazing thing to see Tonya Evinger having that UFC Featherweight Championship around her belt. That would be super cool, and I'm going to be at that fight. Cool. It would be, and I'm going to be there because it's not far from where I live. And, you know, guaranteed if you were fighting within an hour of where I live, I'll be there. I promise. In the meantime, I'll try to make other places, you know, and expand my horizons a little bit. But we'll definitely be cheering for you on Access and, you know, and cheering for Tonya there and should be some great action. Well, I really appreciate you coming back with us, Andrea. So many people are super excited about our show, and we get such great ratings when you're on, and people absolutely say, when are we having Andrea back? And, you know, and so, you know, anytime you want, you know, let me know. We love having you on the show and always happy to talk to you.
Well, I appreciate it. You know, I love coming on, and, you know, I like making people happy.
That's a good thing. Well, that's
I'll come on as much as you need me.
Fantastic. Well, we'll stay in close touch, and you knock them dead a week from Friday.
Yes. Fingers crossed.
All righty. You got it. You take care. We'll be cheering for you.
Okay. Bye, guys. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye. And that was Andrea KGB Lee. She is absolutely awesome, and she does have tickets for her LFA Legacy Fighting Alliance fight that is going to be coming up on Friday the 14th, which is a week from Friday. So hit her up. Get tickets from her. You know, you can't count on the fact that she can come back and shake your hand after the fight, because it can be kind of crazy, but you never know. And if you buy a ticket from her, there's a good chance of that. And so support her, and she's a super, super cool person and a really great fighter. So we are going to be taking a little break here, coming back with Tonya Evinger after these brief messages. I want to make sure, though, that we have our commercials queued up from our great producer here in the new studio. And are we ready to go, or do we need to give some more info? Okay, and we will be back after these brief messages.
Get ready for FanFlow, the ultimate way to experience live music. With FanFlow, you become a part of the show. Connect and share with fellow fans who love the music as much as you. Control what you hear, control what you see, and record it so you can relive those amazing performances wherever and whenever you want. Before the show, you decide the playlist and interact with the venue. During the show, you share your experience, buy what you're hearing, and hear what you want. FanFlow gives you the superpowers you wish you could have at a live performance, so you become a part of the experience and connect with your favorite performers.
Stay turned up with a young fly nigga from the west side. Oh yeah. Lil' mama with a bad little tune from the south side. Oh yeah. Hey, back it up, drop it down. Say she wanna wear my crown. First I gotta take it down. Drive that shit into the ground.
Dig game so good, she talk crazy to me. She said, nigga, you could try, but ain't no leaving me. Hold up, big deal, baby, yeah, I give her the D. When I put it in the stump, she like, oh, you're killing me. If I go to jail, mama gon' pay the bill. Sagas game so good, I should put it for sale. I'ma feed you to my bedroom, that's the beast to me. The mother niggas on the jack, but she on me. Champagne on chill. D baby, I'm drill. Lil' mama, what's the deal? Pussy wet like a whip. Beat it up, Holyfield. Smoking cookies, Mrs. Phil. Grown man in the field. Baby girl, what's the deal?
Stay turned up with a young fly nigga from the west side. Oh yeah. Lil' mama with a bad little tune from the south side. Oh yeah. Hey, back I gotta take it down. Drive that shit into the ground.
I drag it through the dirt like I'm burying it. I'm a player, baby, I ain't man shit. You can ride with a nigga down the coast, though, but please don't stuff both hoes. She on that Montana, that's the coke boy. She said it makes the demons come out. She gets freakier with her mouth. She likes deep throated with no doubt. Hey, she back on the shift, singing like whips. I bust in her mouth, now she gurgling shit. I'm a pimp by blood, not coincidence. I'm like a bad bitch, blindfold, trust a pimp. I'm leaning to the side, looking for a bad bitch to find. My eyes on the prize, I'm wildin' tonight. Don't try to stop me now, my grind is on the rise. Your bitch is on the side, and I'm sliding her tonight. I'm sliding her tonight. Ooh.
Stay turned up with a young fly nigga from the west side. Oh yeah. Lil' mama with a bad little tune from the south side. Oh yeah. Hey, back it up, drop it down. Say she wanna wear my crown. First I gotta take it down. Drive that shit into the ground.
Hi, my name is David Fimbres with Boulevard Moving. We're a 5-star moving company here in Southern California with offices in Arizona and Nevada. We cover local, long-distance moving and your full storage needs.
Why choose Boulevard Moving? Well, that's simple. We offer 5-star ratings in local directories, information and guidance throughout the process, certified moving consultants, expert packers, and movers. 24/7 availability for moving and packing services. Highly recommended among the area's most prestigious realtors and estate managers. Our mission is to deliver superior customer service and to provide the highest level of quality workmanship for the physical movement of goods. We strive to maintain a level of communication that eliminates the stress and inherent concern people have when hiring a moving service, be it residential or commercial. Call us today at 844-274-0500 or visit www.boulevardmoving.com.
All right, that's my signal. Okay, all right. And welcome back to the MMA Power Hour. So glad you all stayed with us. We have an absolutely amazing segment coming up here. I am so excited to have back on our show the Invicta FC Bantamweight champion of the world, who will be challenging for the vacant UFC Featherweight Championship of the world July 29th at the Honda Center, where I will be cheering for her. We are talking to the champ herself, Tonya Evinger. Welcome to the show, Tonya.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. So glad to have you. How was your fourth?
It was good. I didn't go out and do anything. I'm not much of a fireworks person. I just played video games, but it was perfect timing because I played video games all night, and obviously it's all like first player shooter games, so maybe the neighbors thought I was shooting some fireworks.
Nice. That's cool. Always better to chill out, especially when you're in camp and you got a fight coming up. How's training been going?
It's been good. It's been good. I had a lot of people that came over and started training with me to kind of mix up my style a little bit and give me a little bit bigger bodies in the gym and stuff, so it's been good.
Good. And are you looking to be putting on more weight and like eating a lot more, or are you looking at not trying to make too much of a difference in your size?
I mean, I cut 30 pounds to get to 35. I think people are really naive about how much they think all these fighters cut to make weight. So
yeah.
I guarantee Cyborg's probably cutting at least 30. 35. I cut 30 to get to 35, so I just got to cut 20 this time.
Nice. And that makes sense. And that's, that's kind of what I've been thinking and saying. I think some people are thinking back about you 10 years ago, maybe when you were a little bit smaller, but I don't think that.
Oh, I've been walking this weight since I was in high school. I don't know what people are looking at.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's cool.
But I did see some people post some stuff, and they're like, man, I guarantee Ronda Rousey walks at 140.
No
Y'all,
way.
come on.
Wrong.
We did not cut 5 pounds.
No, absolutely. And that's what I was thinking, and not only that, but I think Cyborg has been trying to be smaller lately. So, and either way, you're good. I'm so excited about this matchup, and I bet you have the support you thought you had and probably even more. Am I right?
Yeah, it's, I wouldn't say more than normal, but a lot of people still hate me, and they write me them private messages to tell me what a piece of crap I am.
Oh no!
But
you're kidding.
yeah, it never stops.
Yeah.
It's 24 hours for me. But you know, it don't matter. I'm just gonna go out there and do what I do every time, and try to have the best fight I can have.
Absolutely, yeah, and the haters will always be there hating, you know, and it's funny, even on a show, you know, like ours, and you know, we're getting some buzz and getting out there. Maybe that's why, but we're still not on national TV or anything yet. But we're still finding a couple of haters coming out here once in a while. It's like, really, seriously, to be a hater? Well, we're just, you know, doing some good work as you do. You just do your thing, and you're genuine and sincere, and so, you know. But it is what it is. But I've been finding a lot of support for you out there. Not that people are hating on Cyborg, but I think a lot of people just realize that you've paid your dues so much. You were fighting back in the day when it was different weights and the girls not making weight and last minute and all kinds of crazy stuff, right? And then to have paid your dues so much, you know, and been so consistent, it's like how it should be. Maybe you should have gotten, you know, maybe a break a few years sooner than this, but the bottom line is the fact that you're getting it is so deserved, and you know, it's a cool thing. So I'm finding a lot of people that are happy for you and confident for you as well, because honestly, I don't think there's anyone that has been an opponent of Cyborg, correct me if I'm wrong, that has any kind of wrestling background and credentials like you, or am I wrong?
No, that's right. But you know, there is a lot of really good wrestlers in the sport. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I think that you know, the amount compared to the amount of women's MMA matches in general, like, not many people come across us wrestlers, you know. So
it's true. And for the women also, it's kind of interesting, isn't it? It seems like there's Sarah McMahon, and Misha had some good wrestling in there, and some other girls. But doesn't it? It's interesting how, I mean, there's not Damian Maya's running all around the place either. But in the men, you know, it seems like you got Woodley, you got Maya. You can pick off a bunch of really good wrestlers that are men, but it doesn't seem like more than you and Sarah McMahon, at least as far as people that most folks have heard of, have a lot.
There's a couple in the lower weights. I can't think their names offhand because I'm an asshole, but there's a couple of smaller girls that wrestled on the national team and stuff like that. So, you know, they're starting to come over. I think that you know, it was a little bit, it's a completely different change from going just wrestling somebody to getting punched in the face. So, but they're slowly coming over here.
Yeah, and
the men sooner, they went after them dollars.
Yeah, that is true. But I tell you what, I think with the performance that we're going to see from you, you know, in winning that UFC Featherweight title, I have a feeling a lot of female wrestlers are going to say, "Crap, how quickly can I get over to MMA?" You know, and you know, not everyone, because not all of them are going to say they still are, you know, be hit in the face. But I think a bunch of the tougher girls are going to say, "Crap, look at what Evinger just did. Let's jump on over there and do some damage." Yeah, so I think you're going to be leading by a good example for wrestlers. So yeah, I mean, now you've been in the game for so long, and Invicta does have the bright lights and the publicity, and so this UFC isn't causing you any kind of chaos and grief with the extra publicity and demand on your time, or is it annoying and bothering you a bit?
No, not at all. I mean, really, Invicta is a big promotion, and people really underestimate it and don't give it credit for what's due, you know. But you know, there's a lot of press and a lot of supporters and a lot of the same thing that comes along with the Invicta fights, and literally the show's one of the most professional shows I fought on. So we go there and we do our media day and all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty similar. It's not, I don't think it's going to be anything I'm not used to.
Yep. And you wonder, do you know the crew that's gonna work in the commentary? Is that gonna be Joe Rogan, or do you have any idea? They probably don't even decide that even until, you know what, I have a feeling Rogan lives in LA. I bet you're gonna get Joe Rogan on that broadcast. What would you get? And a huge card like that, I'm almost positive. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, probably. You know, I think it's the biggest part of the year. Probably anybody's going to work it, but we'll see. I don't think Joe Rogan's such a big fan of mine. You know, I know Eddie Bravo's a little bit of a fan of mine, but Joe Rogan never really has anything positive to say about me. So whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, don't worry about that, because I'm not hating on Joe, but I'm also not like his #1 fan, either.
Right.
He's been around for so long, and and like that. But yeah, that's cool that Eddie respects you and likes you, and it's strange. You know what I think? Sometimes some people in Joe's position are talking on the air so much as part of their job that they almost will start reaching at things to say that are positive or negative, and
Right.
so, you know what I mean. So you never know. The bottom line is, if they went to Joe and said, "You remember talking anything bad about Tonya Evinger?" he might say, "Tonya Evinger, no." And then they'd be, "Oh, really? You don't?" So you never know. But honestly, I mean, you've been doing it, and and doing it for a while. And you know what I think? I really think there isn't really going to be a lot of crazy trash talking between you and Cyborg. Am I right? Or
Yeah, no, I think we're on a different level than a lot of these fights, and obviously we're both dominating world champions, and I think that there's a little bit of respect there. We both put in our time and worked really hard to get this position, and when it comes down to it, we just want to go out there and put on the best fight and get a fight bonus and try to make as much money as we can in the meantime, and just try to entertain everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you spent a little time with her in the press yet, or is that going to be coming up in the next few weeks only?
No, I think we got a press conference that we're supposed to go to, but I think they like to keep me in the dark.
They're not sure which day or whatever. Yeah.
I thought they were going to bring me out for International Fight Week and stuff like that, but I mean, I think Cyborg went out there and a bunch of other fighters went out there, but they didn't even talk to me about it or anything. So.
Oh man. Yeah, it is what it is.
And when I have it,
yep.
Then I'm going to Conor McGregor him.
Yes,
no,
exactly.
I'm just kidding. I'm never do that.
No, I know, but they'll definitely pay you, and they won't forget you then.
Right.
Yeah, no, I agree. I remember definitely a lot of fighters too. That even weren't even on a fight poster, and it's just, I don't know. They almost feel like they gotta fit people in it, because I'm sure that card is turning out to be the craziest card in years. I mean, and I'm like,
time they have a card like this, biggest card of the year. They have all these fights on it, all these title fights, and all this stuff, and ended up being like the worst card. So
yeah, you never know. Yeah, how the fights can go. Yeah.
All that does happen with the rest card. I'm cool with it because I want a bonus. I'm sure Cyborg does too. So
yeah.
I'm cool with the rest card not being as good as our fight.
Exactly. Hey, the bottom line is you deserve it for having paid your dues for so long, and as much as I am a fan of yours, that would be okay. I'm hating to jinx it. I'm hating to make the other fights not be good, but I definitely think that yours could be the most exciting, and I think that the others should be at least somewhat good, and it's definitely getting so much buzz though because of how many people are on it. So I really like that you're getting that, because this is an event that's just huge, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And what do you do? You're over in Texas. Do you just fly, being that it's LA and you're not flying to another country? Do you just fly in the day before, 2-3 days before? Do you have any plans on that, or is that still kind of up in the air?
They make us come out there about 4 days early. I think if we're overseas or whatever, we come out a little bit more time than that. But no, they just got us coming out 4 days early. It's probably for a little press and to get everything we need to get settled, and then all of a sudden it's there.
Cool.
We're fighting.
That sounds cool.
Real fast. It happens real fast, actually.
That makes sense. And 5-round fights, and you've been scheduled for several 5-round fights. And remind me, and I should have looked. It's just been crazy though with the 4th of July. Have you gone 5, 4? How many times?
I went 4 one round. One girl went 4 rounds with me, and the rest of them are usually second rounders.
That makes sense. And really, for her, even less experience in going the distance, really. I think she
went like 1 fight for 2 rounds in the last, I don't know how many years. So
yeah, it's the last.
No, I think we're kind of both dominating our weight class the same.
Yeah, you're getting girls out of there. Both of you are. And I remember the girl that gave her the hardest time was Marloes Nguyen, and Marloes was such a pioneer. And
Marloes took 5 rounds, didn't she?
She took her. You know what? I think it was 4 once and 3 once.
Okay.
Maybe I was wrong. You know what? I could be wrong. Maybe she did go to this decision once. You know what? And it's funny because if you asked me a couple of years ago, I knew that, like as good as I knew my own name. But the last few years, there's just so much information in my head. Either she took her the distance once and then stopped once, or it was like 4 and 3. Yeah, so she did do that, but that was years ago. That was really years ago. And Marloes is so tough. She's such an amazing fighter, and a good grappler and durable. and a pretty good striker, but she wasn't as physically strong a person as you were, and didn't have anywhere near the wrestling. And just by being gritty and you know, having a good idea of distance and being a really talented fighter, so I'm not ripping on Marloes at all, but she was able to use that craftiness and toughness, you know, to implement her game. And take it like that. So honestly, with your wrestling, I feel it's a really good matchup for you, and so that'll be good. And so as far as any kind of training, I mean, obviously everyone would love to hear, oh, I'm doing this and I'm doing that, but it's kind of not what you're going to want to do, is talk too much about your training. I think you said you're getting different looks though from some people, getting a chance to mix things up. You might have a few surprises in store for us as far as pace or you know, or game plan. Is that kind of what you're indicating for as much as you want to tell us?
Yeah, you know, I don't really ever change my style to fight anybody, but I definitely take in consideration their style and my defense to that, but I don't like change the way I fight. So.
Right. Were you more back in the day, were you more Greco or more freestyle?
Girls don't wrestle Greco, so freestyle.
That
definitely
makes sense. That shows my ignorance about that. Yeah, I've always been a jits guy. I had friends that were wrestlers, so there we go. Just tip my hat. Okay, so absolutely freestyle. All right, cool.
They don't wrestle Greco. I don't know what reason there is, but they don't. Us girls always get the shaft.
Nah, that sucks. That sucks too. Oh, no fun. Well, you're doing great, even with that standing, and you know, just the wrestling is going to be a really cool thing. That should be a fun fight, and that's going to be the co-main, right? Second fight in the card.
Right. Yep.
Cool. And that's in Southern California.
Exciting, huh?
Yeah, that's good.
I thought they were going to kick us down to. They were going to let Maia and Woodley go at the co-main and then kick us down to the third fight. But you know, they left us co-main, and that's pretty awesome. And I think we deserve it, and I also think that it's a good mix. You know, I do think this is a good quality fight, good level fight to be up that high. You know, I don't always think that about every girl fight, and I think that some of the girls get main events when their fights probably aren't going to be main event quality, but you know, it is what it is. I guess selling tickets and being popular is part of that.
Yeah, it is. But I support you 100% in the fact that this one is absolutely, because I know when it starts getting to be the last couple fights, you want it to be fights that people are really excited about and really buzzing about and like that. And absolutely, you know, you and Cyborg is absolutely a fight that qualifies as that, you know, for sure. So that's, you know, that's going to be super, super cool. And also for people to know, a lot of people know, most of our listeners are super knowledgeable, but I do want people to know, because a lot of new people are jumping in, you know, telling us that they're just getting into MMA and learning. And so a lot of people need to know that this isn't Tonya challenging Cyborg for the UFC Championship. This is for the vacant UFC Featherweight Championship. Cyborg is not the UFC Featherweight Champion. So this is a matchup where both of them are challengers for this title, with Tonya being the Invicta Bantamweight champ, Cyborg having been the Invicta Featherweight. But this is a vacant title where neither is champ, but the winner walks out with that UFC Featherweight belt. And so that's exciting, and I think that's going to be putting you both on the even playing field there. Not that it would matter to you anyway, but you know, so both challenging for the vacant title. So that should be interesting. And then after that, I know probably some people are coming at you and saying, all right, Tonya, after you win, who's next? Are you looking for Megan Anderson, or are you looking? I mean, and I know that's kind of crazy, because obviously you probably don't even want.
I don't think any of them are going to get a chance. If I win this fight, I think it's going to be me and Cyborg doing a rematch. Is what I think is going to happen.
That's right.
I think that obviously when I have the title, I think all them girls will want to fight me. They'll have their hands raised to fight me, but again, they won't do it when Cyborg's up there on the plate. You know, so it's kind of coward, if you ask me.
Yeah, no, I agree. What about also, not to blast Jermaine Durand to me, but what the heck happened with that? How is someone going to want to give away their UFC title belt? I just
scared. Y'all scared.
Yeah.
But it's crazy, and they keep making these posts about how they don't want to fight her because she's a cheater and whatnot. But man, she's passing her drug test.
Yeah.
If she passed the drug test, then she's going to be in the division. You can't keep her out because everybody's rallying against her. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, nobody cares. They're trying to put good fighters on the card, you know?
Absolutely. And lately, I think they've been putting out footage where she's boxing with Clarissa Shields, but I don't see how that helps her against you at all. Although
maybe it's not really to box against me. Maybe it's just in general she's trying to work on her stand-up and stuff like that. But
that's a good.
Yeah, I'm definitely a boxer.
Yeah, no. So that is
an unorthodox boxer at that.
No, that is true. That is true. Well, what about LA? You have any connections? You're going to be able to run into any friends, at least friends that you already know. I'm sure new friends you'll find. But do you have?
Yeah, I lived in LA for about 3 years, so I got a lot of people come from Houston, a lot of people come from the Midwest, from up north. A lot of people coming to see me fight and support me, so it's kind of cool, man. It really is. Maybe it's just in general she's trying to work on her stand-up and stuff like that, but yeah, I'm definitely a boxer.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad to hear that you deserve that support. So everything's going good? You feeling good physically?
Yeah, no injuries. Training camp's been going good, and my weight's on point. I think my coaches would like me a little bit heavier, but obviously I was already on my way down for the Invicta card. So,
right.
You know, once I get down a certain level and I'm working out so hard, it just doesn't come back on, you know.
Yeah, makes sense. That's cool. So a lot of good stuff happening. Let me ask you this to go on to get your opinion as we did last time, because you gave some super cool insight. I got to tell you, after we talked to you and then got your opinion on some of the fights, a couple of my friends said, man, Tonya Evinger is absolutely on point with those fight breakdowns. So may I pick your brain on a couple other women's fights coming up?
Yeah, let's do it.
I appreciate it. And I think you already did break down Nguyen versus Shevchenko, but now that it's only a few days away, can you give me any brief insight on that? I know you like Nguyen. She's a buddy of yours. Do you think anything that you've seen lately, if you've had a chance to watch any of those embeddeds or training videos, anything that you think could be an interesting insight for the fans to look for in that fight?
To be honest, man, I haven't watched anything on him. I know Amanda's always game, and she's always really aggressive and stuff like that. I do know, what's her name comes out here and trains, so I got the inside scoop on that because, I obviously know people she trains with or coaches that she's trained under and stuff. And, I just don't see anything changing from before. I think Nguyen is going to win. I think she's more of a adaptable fighter, I guess. And I don't know. I think she's going to win, man. There's really nothing to say. I think that Shako or whatever her name is, I think that she's going to just come out like a robot. And if Nguyen can be quick on her feet and think on her feet and change the game up a little bit here and there and move around like she needs to, I think that she'll drag her out of her game plan, and that's where you're going to beat her.
Yeah. Do you think for people that are saying, well, I got to figure out some way to try to double my money, not that we're advocating betting, but do you think if people are thinking about either betting that fight doesn't go the distance or that it does, or that it goes more than 2.5 rounds, any thought on that?
And I think it's going to go the distance almost. I think it's either going to go to the 4th round or something. I do think that she's going to give her a fight.
Yeah. It should be a battle. I think so too. I
don't know how much Nguyen kicks, really, to be honest, but I've seen old girl fight out here in Houston. I just wasn't impressed, and I'm not saying nobody can get better, because obviously I've had losses and my career's had its ups and downs and whatnot, but it's just a really fast. She ran right to the top really fast, and then it's just. I don't know. I think it's going to go 4 rounds.
Yeah, I think so. I have a feeling so too. I have a feeling it's just going to be a really, really hard fought fight, and it's going to go.
Be a big upset. It'll definitely be a big upset, but to be honest, I think that 35-pound belt is going to change a lot of hands. It's going to be in a lot of people's hands. Just got to get the fights that let people fight, man. It keeps protecting people and giving them fights that kind of match their style and are winnable fights for their style, and I think that kind of holds the sport back too, so I think that a lot of girls at 35 have the ability to hold that belt for a time or two, fight or two.
Yeah, I think so. What do you think about the new series of The Ultimate Fighter with 125-pound women, probably a bunch that over from Invicta? Are you excited at all about that? Some of your buddies at all there, and seeing what 125 is going to look like in the UFC?
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. I think it's going to mix up the whole sport, man. You got the 35-pounders going down and the 15-pounders coming up and the Invicta girls coming over. I think it's going to mix up every weight class, and that's kind of awesome. It's kind of awesome because I think we all get in a stalemate. Like when Ronda had the belt, we were just in a stalemate, and the only person that could fight her is Misha 100 times. It's just
Yeah, I agree. I think so too. I think that's going to be like a murderer's row for women. 125.
Yeah. It's going to be a fun fun next year or two, I think.
It absolutely is. And that season is going to, I think, they always film that like maybe 3 or 4 months in advance. So I have a feeling that's going to be on the air coming up somewhere in the next couple months. And that's going to be a fun season. I don't watch every season of the Tough House, but I'm going to be watching that one for sure. I imagine you are as well.
Yeah, I definitely like watching the girls. I think that the season that Misha and Ronda were the coaches, I think, was so boring. The girls were so boring. Yeah. Everybody wanted to be everybody's friend and help everybody cut weight and be a motivational speaker. And man, shut the hell up. Nobody cares. Let's all fight. And like, man, I just don't get it. But whatever. Yeah,
it is what it is.
I live in the house, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. And then you liked the season when there was the straw weights, though, 115 pounders. That was
there was a lot of drama and it was a little bit more exciting. I liked it.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think this will be as well. There's got so many great veterans in there in the house too, and I think it's going to be really great. All right, how about going into a next fight? How about JoJo Calderwood against Calvillo? Are you familiar with Calvillo, Cynthia Calvillo enough? She's been submitted.
No.
Yeah, not really.
I don't know anything about her.
No problem. And then Tisha Torres against Juliana Lima. Are you familiar with Lima at all?
Lima trains out here, but I've never watched her fight, and I've never trained with her.
Right.
But a friend of mine trained with her and was whooping that ass in wrestling, and she threw a big old fit and stormed out. So, I think that wrestling might be her weakest point because my friend ain't like top wrestler. So
yeah, although Tisha Torres, who she's fighting, doesn't really like to do too much wrestling, but is
that might be a good matchup.
Yeah, Tisha is tough. She and her girl Raquel Pennington are two pretty badass fighters, don't you think?
Yeah, they're doing good, both of them.
Absolutely. And other than that, sorry, I lost my voice there. Other than that, as far as other women's fights, basically we talked about Angela Overkill Hill against Yoder. Pretty much Overkill Hill is got that fight. Yoder, like I think you said, is just still a little bit too green, and that should be, if someone wants to take almost a sure bet home, I would almost think Angela Hill to win that fight. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I think that if Angela Hill was really easy to submit, I think that Sousa would have got her. So, it's she's a fighter, man, and she's came back from the bottom and went to the top a couple times, and I've been super surprised every time I see her fight because I'm always like, oh, this girl's gonna kick her ass. Yep. This girl's gonna submit her.
Yep.
And I like her a lot, but she's definitely proved me wrong, and made me eat my words a couple times.
Yeah, she's an exciting fighter and a cool personality. She seems like a really cool girl. Is she personally?
I don't know her too well, but she's always been cool in Invicta. So
right on. What about and I just had this on the tip of my tongue too. I don't know why that just fell off the tip of my tongue. Man, don't you hate that? It was definitely something I was going to ask you a good insight on. Oh yes, I remember now. So what do you think? The champ Joanna Jędrzejczyk, Joanna Champion as she's called. A, love to hear your thoughts about her as a fighter, and B, love to hear what you think she might do if when 25 presents itself, if they give her a chance to jump in the mix.
She's great, man. She's dominating. I think she has the mental aspect of the game figured out, and she's an amazing striker, but I think she's a 25-pounder. I think she cuts her ass off to be 15. I think she's going to try to take both titles, and they're going to get a winner on the show for 25, and I think she's going to come up and challenge.
Right, and then she would stay.
And I think she should. I mean, I would if I was her.
Yeah, because she's a big. She looks really kind of drawn at 15, doesn't she? To you?
Right. I mean, it's I don't know. I think I would take the chance if I was her and try to be a double champion.
You wouldn't, you're saying? No,
I would.
You would. Yeah, it makes sense. She should, and I think she'd be tough. I've heard some fighters mention though that she won't have really the strength and size advantage at 25.
Yeah, but look, she's almost as tall. She's an inch shorter than me.
Right.
An inch.
That's true.
She fights at 115. That's crazy.
Yeah.
People are so stupid in the sport. It's crazy. They're just crazy.
They want to have Fiji?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're super ignorant in the sport, and they get caught up in the type and stuff. But and she's a big 15-pounder, and people don't realize that.
Yeah. absolutely. And I think she'd be healthier and definitely be stronger. Who are some...
striking ain't gonna slow down just because she's bigger, you know. So
I agree. Do you have any favorites? And I know there's so many girls at 25 that you like that will be fighting at 25 that are coming up from 15 or coming down from 35. But could you throw out some names that you think will be in that UFC 25 class that you would think are women to look out for? 3 or 4 names maybe, or anyone you can think of.
I don't even know. You put me on this spot.
I know. I'm sorry about that. I didn't prepare you for that one.
I think my girl Jess is going to be on it because I think she has the look and the personality.
And who was that again?
I think she'll be on it.
Who was that again?
I don't know. To be honest, I don't know who will try it out. So.
Right. Who was the one you mentioned though? That got, for some reason, it got kind of muffled when you said that.
Oh, Jessie Jess.
Jessie Jess. Yes, I've heard of her. She's tough.
Yeah, I think she's on it. Obviously, she's from Invicta, so.
Yeah.
Go Invicta.
Yep, absolutely.
Like, the girls that came from Invicta, man. I'm just happy to see them over there and getting a chance and being able to, you know, improve themselves and to get on bigger and bigger shows and try to go out there and make that money, man.
Yep, absolutely. I think Roxanne Modafferi may have
gotten
on the show.
Roxanne definitely.
That was such a great. Was that a great performance from her last time, or what, against Sarah D'Alelio?
Yeah, I think a lot of these girls think that they go down a weight class and they're gonna dominate, and you know, it doesn't make you better skilled to lose weight. It just makes you weaker maybe sometimes. Sometimes I don't think people perform the same when they go down and you know, but some better, some do. So
yeah, who do you think from 35 that you could see trying for 25? Let's say over in the UFC.
I think well, she's already picked up, but I think Aspen Ladd needs to get her shit together and go to 25. I think she would do really, really good at 25.
Right.
I know she came over and signed at 35, but
yeah, that's
she's not a 35 pounder. I don't believe.
Yeah, I think I remember.
But, you know, it's girls don't want to cut weight. They don't want to cut weight. It ain't none of my business. But I think she would dominate at 25, and I thought it was crazy that she went up and decided she didn't want to cut weight no more. And this is the opportunity right here where you're going to make the most money. You want to go as far as you can. Get over the fact you don't want to cut weight and you don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to cut weight after I quit wrestling. But at the end of the day, man, your window's getting smaller, and you got to go where you can and get what you can.
Yeah, I agree. What about some of...
I'd like to see her compete at 25, and I think she'd dominate. I really do.
Aspen Ladd, gotcha. We'll look out for that, absolutely. What do you think about some of the big names at 35 at UFC? Tell me yes or no if you think they could go for 25. How about Kat Zingano?
She has kind of big titties.
Yeah, that can make it tough to make 25 for her, huh?
Yeah, you might have to go take them implants out, maybe. I don't know.
Right. How about like?
That's a lot of weight.
Yep, that is true.
I think she would kill it at 25 too. I really do.
Yeah, I think so. And I know she was there years back, but it's been maybe 5, 6, 7 years since then. But yeah, how about like a Juliana Pena, or is she a little bit bigger girl to make 25?
I don't know. I don't know how much she cuts, but I think any of these girls that if you aren't killing it at 35, if you're just hanging out and fighting, I think why not, man?
Yeah.
It's only 10 more pounds. I mean, I cut to 25 before. I've offered to fight at 25 to try to take that Invicta belt. You know what I mean? I think I'm seriously right in the middle. I think if I got to work out full time, obviously I can make 25, and I fight at 35 because, you know, it's in the middle, and obviously this fight's at 45, so you know I'm fine with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Thinking of speaking about Kat Zingano, her buddy is actually someone that has wrestling, that was the Invicta 25 champ. I think Barb Honchak is looking to get in there, and I think she's pretty badass. Do you think or no?
I do. I think she's really boring.
Right.
I think it's going to change when she gets into UFC, and I just don't think that she had the competition. She never, like, to me, she never, like, dominated anybody. She just won fights, you know. So, I don't know. We'll see. She's been out of the game for a minute. So these girls, you know, I think that goes to say something, especially during these times in MMA when it's this big and there's this many girls and this much competition and this many gyms to train out of. I think it might hurt her a little bit. But she definitely is tough and been a contender at Invicta, but man, you gotta win fights, man. Like let's win some fights. You're a champion. Let's win some freaking fights, man. Not just roll through 'em.
Yeah, you got to win convincingly. Absolutely. What do you think after winning the Featherweight Championship on the 29th? Do you think you might do what a lot of people do, is relocate to Las Vegas, or is that the last thing you would want to do?
I'm not leaving my gym. I'm winning.
Nice. I
think people are crazy when they leave their gym. You're winning, and you're going to leave your gym and go to some gym that has a big name with all these big fighters.
Yeah.
So then less attention and less one-on-one, and you're really kind of not. You're just having great bodies to work out with. I don't know, man. I like to train at smaller gyms where I get a lot of attention. My training partners are catered to help me get ready for fights.
That makes sense. So Las Vegas, here we come, probably won't be in the Tonya Evinger plans. It sounds like that's
I'm staying right here in Houston.
Nice. I like it. It's cool over there. I've heard a lot of great things about Texas. A lot of good things happening there. It's a good place to live. Good quality of life, huh?
Right. It's good. It's nice.
Cool. Yep, that is true. Do you have anything that you want to leave the listeners with here? Because I know you got to get back to your evening, and we've been so happy to have you here. Any last thoughts you want to leave the listeners and your fans with here for the night?
No, man. Just get on my Twitter, my Facebook, my Instagram. It's just my name, Tonya Evinger. Super easy to find, and follow me. You know. Sometimes I say funny stuff. Sometimes I say ignorant stuff. Most of the time I sound stupid, so there's nothing better than that.
I like that. That's good, entertaining, and you're a real person, and you're honest and genuine, and that's cool, and that means a lot. So you guys check out Tonya Evinger. She tells it like it is, and is someone who we can really cheer for, and I know I'm going to do that. So I'm looking forward to this fight. I think you got it. You keep doing what you're doing, Tonya, and I'll be out there cheering for you on the 29th and watching you win that UFC Featherweight Championship belt.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. We'll look forward to talking to you soon. And when you're the champ, you still think you'd consider coming on my show, or would that be tough to fit in the agenda at that point?
No. I'm not that. I mean, I already have a world title, so I'm not that,
That's true.
Ignorant.
I like it. You're a genuine, honest person.
Struggle. I got a world title, and I got the struggle over here. So.
Yep, I hear you. Well, I will look forward to then seeing you, and not only being able to introduce you as the champ, and as we have, but being able to introduce you as the UFC Featherweight Champion of the world.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. You have a great one, Tonya. Thanks so much again. Kick ass on the 29th. We'll be there cheering for you in person.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Have a good night.
You too.
Thanks. Bye-bye. So that was Tonya Evinger, the Invicta Bantamweight champion. We are so glad to have her here from training camp for that Cyborg fight. Gotta say, she is super cool. She is super genuine, and we couldn't have been happier than to have her here with us. That was completely cool of Tonya, and we're definitely fans. You guys got to cheer for her. She's legit. She can win, and I honestly, I think she will win that fight. Will be a badass fight with Cyborg, though, for sure. Don't miss it, and that's July 29th on that card with so many great fights. John Bones Jones in his return against DC Daniel Cormier. Damian Maia challenging for Tyron Woodley's welterweight belt. Cowboy Cerrone against Ruthless Robbie Lawler, and Tonya Evinger and Cris Cyborg both challenging each other for the vacant women's UFC Featherweight Championship. Check it out. Watch Tonya in action. You won't be disappointed. We have a last great segment with two guests, and you don't want to miss it. It's going to be awesome. What I'm going to do now, though, is say we will be back after these messages, and check out FujiSports.com. Check out CombatPress.com. Cross-trained MMA fighter. Great studios here. iFluxy. Everyone is really lighting it up here, and we're going to make it a fantastic summer with your support. We'll be back after these brief messages.
Don't be acting so cool like you that wine. You fine, yeah, you fine. And yeah, I know that your shit tight. Damn right. But don't be acting so cool like you that wine. Cool like you that wine. Poolside, late night. I know you're shining up moonlight. Damn right. I wanna know what you look like. Late night. I'm trying to see what you taste like. Taste like. Damn right. Let a nigga holla at you right. Show you some find the things in life. You know I'ma do your fucking right. Yeah. Give it to you, it ain't even
Look, I wanna get down with your hello girl. Little birdie told me you a bad little girl. Expensive taste, fine wine and pearls, but you best believe I'm finna rock that world. Skinny nigga from the west side. Couple bitches by the beach side. Blunt lit by the moonlight. Finna give it to you all night. Yeah.
Don't be acting so cool like you that wine. Don't be acting so cool like you that wine.
Midnight, green light, hit the sheets to the sunlight. Fun night, like it rough, so we play fight. We don't rest till the daytime. Playtime. Shorty on that drain, attitude on real stain. He take it to the bank, he don't give you what you like. I know what you like, I know you can write like bite. You fuck with me, fuck the hype, give it to you like it's mine, yeah.
And we both like designers. Best friend go reminder. Lost your mind on the island.
Where's up?
Did you ever go find her?
Okay.
Ever had a nigga shoot straight?
That's me.
Did you own this new slate?
Ain't wrong,
Little baby on the new way.
Okay.
Sipping wine with the Kool-Aid.
Let's get it.
Let a nigga holla at you right. Show you some find the things in life. You know I'ma do your fucking right. Give it to you, it ain't even mine. You fine, yeah, you fine. And yeah, I know that your shit tight. Damn right. But don't be acting so cool like you that wine. Cool like you that wine. You fine, yeah, you fine. And yeah, I know that your shit tight. Damn right. But don't be acting so cool like you that wine. Cool like you that wine.
Founded in 1969, Fuji Sports is your #1 source for gis and grappling gear, specializing in superb customer service and high-quality judo and jiu-jitsu uniforms at competitive prices. Fuji Sports is a proud manufacturing partner with many established organizations throughout the world, and is also a proud sponsor of U.S. Olympians, BJJ World Champions, and MMA superstars. Fuji Sports offers gis, rash guards, t-shirts, backpacks, shorts, gloves, and more. Visit fujisports.com to buy or customize your own gear today.
Get ready for FanFlow, the ultimate way to experience live music. With FanFlow, you become a part of the show. Connect and share with fellow fans who love the music as much as you. Control what you hear, control what you see, and record it so you can relive those amazing performances wherever and whenever you want. Before the show, you decide the playlist and interact with the venue. During the show, you share your experience, buy what you're hearing, and hear what you want. FanFlow gives you the superpowers you wish you could have at a live performance, so you become a part of the experience and connect with your favorite performers.
And welcome back to the MMA Power Hour. So glad you guys are with us. Really happy that you guys have joined us for this show, and we've had a great one, and it continues. Very happy to introduce for his second visit to our show one of the legendary MMA champions, one of the best wrestlers, one of the most badass guys, also one of the nicest guys and respected trainers out there. We're talking about none other than Antonio McKee. So happy to have you. Welcome back to the show, Antonio.
Man, it's always a pleasure to come back and support you guys. You know, I'm grateful and thankful you guys have me on again. I'm sure we're going to throw another great show, as always.
Absolutely. Well, we're glad you had the time, man. Always good to talk to you. And we know that we have one of your, I guess, I don't know, how do they say it, a student or one of your people you're coaching and have for many years who's been training under you and alongside AJ since they were both kids. And we're talking about Joey Davis Jr., and he's on the way to your place. Got caught up in a little bit of LA traffic, which for our listeners who don't know LA, you come here, you'll get to know it real quick. Traffic is one of the... Yeah, one of the worst things about it. I can't tell you how many times I'm on the road at whatever hour and there's gridlock, and I'm saying to myself, does no one have a job here? I mean, no one's got somewhere to be. It's literally like no one has somewhere to be except on the road. And you never know when it's going to take 20 minutes to go 20 miles or when it's going to take an hour and 30 minutes, you know. So Joey will be there. We're going to talk about him because he's up and coming. And so maybe start out a little bit about him anyway with you, Antonio, because you've got some great people training under you and a lot of killers there, including Baby Slice, Kimbo Jr., and especially AJ, your son. But Joey Davis is someone that people are really impressed with, and he's got an amazing wrestling pedigree. And tell us a little bit about Joey Davis Jr. and your experience with him and how long he's been training under you and what you think about this young man.
Man, Joey Davis is like my son. You know, we've all done things in our lives that we're not proud of doing. You know, it was a rough time coming up in the 80s and the 70s. Me and his dad were, you know, on the other side of the fence. He was over there and I was over here. Mm-hmm. And, you know, Joey is just, he was like, I think 4 or 5 years old. He brought Joey for me to train. Joey kept getting beat by this Hispanic kid. Mm-hmm. That happens to be a police officer's son, and I hate cops.
Uh-oh. Yeah, I hear you. Good.
Even though my family's cops.
Right.
I just didn't like this cop because this cop kid was beating Joey.
Yep, no fun.
And so Joey started training with me at about 4.5, 5. I guaranteed him if he trained with me for 6 months, he'd beat that kid the next time they wrestled. I kept my end of the word. Joey beat that kid. So it started in my garage. Joey Davis is probably the reason why I started, you know, getting into coaching. Mm-hmm. After training Joey, and Joey went to the Worlds. He won the World Championship. My son took second. And I kind of had a niche for wrestling. Like, wrestling was like, okay, this is fun, but there was no money being made.
Right.
So I just kept wrestling. I just kept coaching him and coaching him and coaching him. And then when he'd go to Santa Fe Springs, he'd wrestle, and he'd come train with me on the weekends and part-time. I've always been the go-to guy for him. You know, he's just real comfortable with me. I'm real comfortable with him. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we worked on that double leg over and over and over and over and over and over and over till he used to cry with snot hanging out of his nose.
I love it.
I mean, he's won everything you could win at a kid level of wrestling. Mm-hmm. I just didn't see wrestling being where the money was for Joey. But I did want him to get the piece of paper. I wanted him to get a degree.
Yep.
So, you know, he went to college, and, you know, he's muscling through it now. He's a 4-time NCAA champ, undefeated, 133-0.
Amazing.
He's an amazing, talented kid. You know, he grew up. Things weren't always the way it's been for him, a lot like me. Yep. And he was the reason why I started the Fight for Kid program. Joey was one of these guys that Rampage sponsored. Anthony Capelli, my friends that are doctors, attorneys, they would all put money in together so we could send Joey Davis on the international competition. Nice. And Joey would win that too.
Amazing.
So I wasn't surprised that he would do well in wrestling. As far as MMA, it's just a matter of time. He's a phenomenal athlete. That's one of the things about Joey. He reminds me of Tyron Woodley.
Nice.
I remember training Tyron Woodley, and Tyron used to give me the same trouble that Joey gives me. That takedown is hard to get on those guys.
Yeah.
And if you don't get it, then you better not gas out because they're going to take you down.
Right.
So, his first fight, he looked amazing. Joey's really the reason why I dedicate my gyms, because I just wanted to be a good coach for Joey, and then it led to other guys like Aaron Pico, Saeed, Anthony. Man, I've trained all the best wrestlers in the world that are national level now, NCAAs right now. They came out and trained with me at some point in their careers. And now I think we're going to be impressed with Joey's MMA, because his MMA game is good. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
But he's got a good game.
Absolutely.
He's been training since he was a puppy for MMA.
Absolutely. And he was also a good high school football player, wasn't he?
The sad part about this is we just talked about this, me and Joey, and I told him he should have stuck with football because he was just as talented at football as he is at wrestling. The only difference is when you leave college from football, you're making millions and millions of dollars like Mercedes Lewis.
Yep.
And I've worked with guys like that, and Willie McGinnis, Mark Carey, all those guys were in my era, and they made a lot of money in football, and Joey could have made a lot of money. So now he's going to have to fight for every nickel and dime. But he's a talented athlete, so I don't think it'll be a problem.
Exactly. And under your guidance, I really agree with that. And you know what? I mean, I believe, because you know your stuff so well. And like I mentioned last time, I've taken notice that people have sought you out in training for years. I remember going back like 20 years, everyone was talking about Frank Shamrock in everyone's corner, seeking him out. But going back about 15 years, pretty much I was seeing you in everyone's corner, even when you were fighting, in 10 years. And so I think a lot of people got to know, you are someone that people are seeking out at the highest levels. And so I think for an elite athlete already like Joey Davis to be under your tutelage and coaching is a really great combination. And I think absolutely he's going to be doing something amazing, and he will get wherever he wants to get. And he's fighting at 170. His first fight was 170 at Bellator, and we're looking at 170 again for him on that August 25th card, right?
Yes, he's a 170 pounder. He's walking around 180, 182, 183. A lot of people are sleeping on me.
Yeah.
But I don't care.
No.
I take guys that are not athletes and make them champions. If not champions, we're going to be top 5.
Exactly.
It's unfortunate that a lot of these fighters or these high-level wrestlers are coming out of college with these degrees. They're going to these other organizations, these other managers, and they're getting sucked up into it. They don't really give a shit about these guys. And that's what hurts me the most, is that you get, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but you get one house nigga and all the other house niggas think that they can be just as equal as the other house nigga. And I just don't like that.
Yeah.
I'm known for saying what I feel. I got a lot of things that I can back it up. I got facts. These guys are just numbers and cattle, They go and sign with these management companies, and they don't manage them. They just got a little hookup. They get them a couple of fights. These guys are already athletes. They're already athletic. They already are top 10 wrestler in the world. Of course, you're going to get those breaks, but can you actually go out there and perform? I tell you what, they're losing against us. When they fight against us, they're losing.
Yep.
I spend a lot of time with my guys. I've got a great group of guys that I train with. I got Jason Manley, me. I try to keep my camp small and simple and sweet.
Yep.
We're training guys to knock you out or to choke you out, or the ref's going to stop it. We don't get hit. We're not worried about getting hit and trading blows. Our style is so different. Our footwork is totally different. I've got great boxers in my gym that I train, the head trainer for. So you know what? I've been doing a lot of stuff, man. A lot of people are sleeping on me. They're not saying, much about me. Like I said, there's no articles. There's no magazines. I've been doing this shit for over 20-some years, man. And one thing I know is I know how to fight.
Yeah.
I can put the strategies together, and I can teach people how to strike. I can teach people confidence. I can teach people how to be businessmen where they don't have to give 25-30% of their money up to management companies who, once they're no good, they're dropped.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's really sad. This sport is like it's like a pimp and hoe game.
Yeah.
These fighters ain't nothing but a bunch of hoes, and these managers are a bunch of pimping these fighters, and it's sad. It's sad to me. That's not gonna happen on my watch with my guys.
No, exactly. And I think that's really important. And I think, for any young fighters or people that are parents of young fighters or anyone that's listening, that's something that really, really is important, because especially in a huge entertainment company, you have so many sharks and vultures and people that are always trying to use you, get money out of you, and then spit you out and don't really care about you. And it's unfortunate, because you got a lot of people coming up in their early 20s who were taught as a child that everything's going to be fair. If your neighbor in class gets a cupcake, you get a cupcake. If they get to get out early, you get to get out early. And then they find all of a sudden that it's not fair, and people screw you over who are smiling at you and telling you they're going to take care of you. So I think that you do have a rarity in Antonio McKee, who really would look out for you and not only give you fantastic training, but not be there to try to screw you and spit you out afterwards. So I highly,
you got a good look at that when you watch Aaron Pico's last fight.
Yeah.
I was pissed off. That's just straight up coaching ego and management ego. You know what I mean? The kid's a great kid. The exact same thing that's happening to his MMA career that happened to his wrestling career. Slow down.
Yeah.
You're a boy. You're still a little boy. You're not a man yet. Okay, you're 20 years old. You ain't even peaked your full man strength yet. Your body has been put at such a strain for so many years and years and years of wrestling, and that's where they fell there. You don't go get on an international level as a child. No. Let that kid body mature. Let his muscles build. Let his growth plates fulfill themselves. And now you jump in MMA, and it's bad management, it's bad coaching, all that shit. They can get mad at me and say whatever they want. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But Aaron Pico, I love that kid. I've trained him. I've trained with him. He's an amazing kid, and here's an example of what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Just the management didn't look out for him on that matchup at all, and just kind of said, hey, what the hell? We'll get a high profile fight and throw him to the wolves. And yeah, that's unfortunate. So no, I agree. So, and what I was going to say is, you guys listening are fighters, or your parents are fighters, go check out Antonio McKee, because you will get the highest level training equal to any famous training camp. But you'll also have someone that cares about you. And AJ did mention that if someone's got their act together and really wants to train hard and is a serious fighter, not that you're trying to get 800 people in your school, but AJ did say if someone's serious, they can come down to talk to you. And is he right about that, or did he misspeak?
Yeah, you know what? My son has seen me work with Rampage, Tito. He's seen me work with everybody, and he's always said, Dad, why don't more people want to use you? And I said, well, that's a good thing, son. One, I couldn't handle that many people. And two, a lot of managers, a lot of people are afraid. I'm an intimidating guy from what I understand, and I didn't even know that. I'm the nicest guy on the planet. It's just I'm not with the bullshit. You know what I mean? I came from a rough background.
For sure.
Pedigree of fighting, that's been my whole life. So I don't know any other way, but I do know what's right and what's wrong, and I know about honesty and loyalty.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's the kind of guy I am. And most people they shy away from me. Yep. Why? Because half of them are full of shit.
Yep.
Straight out. I'm not gonna candy coat it. They're full of shit.
Yep.
I know business. I've done nothing but own multiple businesses. I mean, whatever they want to talk about, S Corp, C Corp, LLC, the difference between an S Corp, C Corp, LLC.
Yep.
How do you set these guys up for long-term management? You put money away for retirement and pension. Like, I've been doing this my whole life.
Yeah,
this is what I did for drug dealers. Now I don't deal with drug dealers anymore. I deal with real people with real money, real legal money. I want nothing to do with that underground life anymore.
No. Doing all legit.
And now it's paying off. It's paying off for me. It's paying off for my family, my son. I just had a new son.
Absolutely. God bless him.
So, I just want to do what's right.
Yeah.
I don't care about all the he say, she say. I want to do what's right. I want people to understand there is some good people out here in this world.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm a hard guy, but you know what? Hard guys always finish last if they play fair. I'm going to try to change that. I'm going to be the hard guy and finish first playing straight up right.
I like that.
And we'll see what happens.
I like that. I think you will. And that's what my late father used to always say. People that will try to make it a win-win situation for people they're working with, those are the people that are the best people that will come out ahead. And it doesn't always have to be nice guys finish last. Not at all. And so your gym is Body Shop MMA. Is that right?
It's Team Body Shop. I don't really No, that's one thing I never got into. I never got into the branding and trying to take credit for this or that. I would just look, team. We're a team here. There's no I in team.
I like that.
We're a team. Team Body Shop.
I like it.
This is where you bring your body to get in shape. We're gonna get you in shape. We're gonna get you right. This is where we fix everything here.
I like it.
So
for people that want to jump down there, I know AJ did mention it a few weeks ago. Can you mention that for someone that is serious, not goofing around, and they want to talk to you about some hard training?
I always tell people, just hit me up on Instagram, inbox, Facebook, email me, Antonio McKee at yahoo.com. Like I said, if you're looking for something that's good for you and it's right and honest and loyal, hey, you'll find me. I don't have to find you.
I like it. That's very true. Good point. And you're open to people that are willing to train hard and are focused and people have integrity.
He's supposed to be here.
He said he didn't see the truck, so he left.
Dude.
Tell him to hurry up.
What do you mean he didn't see the truck? The truck's out front. Joey's, how far away is he?
10 minutes.
He said he's 10 minutes away,
That's okay.
so I don't know if you guys got time.
Yeah, we can hang in there. We can hang in there with you. Absolutely. We're happy to meet Joey, and I wouldn't want to let him down, let our audience down, or let his dad down. So we can do that. But no, you make some good points, and I'm really happy that you tell it like it is, and you're definitely, in my opinion, and most people's opinion, one of the most respected trainers. Even if people aren't shouting you out, giving you as much love, like you mentioned, the people who know are, and they know what you're about and what you can do, and what you are doing with young fighters and even top fighters consulting you to help their career, man. So I'm behind you 100%. So let me ask you this while waiting for Joey. What about some of this action coming up, man? Would love to have the Antonio McKee breakdown on some of these fights. We not only do we have that huge fight coming up on July 29th with Bones Jones coming back against Daniel Cormier. Also on that card, Tyron Woodley against Maia. Also on that card, Cerrone and Lawler. Also on that card, Tonya Evinger and Cris Cyborg. But we have some fights this weekend. I'd love to bounce a couple off you here while we're waiting and see what you think. And so, if I may, what do you think about the card on Friday, The Ultimate Fighter? I know you're familiar with Michael Johnson, and he's going to be welcoming that kid who was in the World Series of Fighting, Justin Gaethje. You familiar with him? Do you have any thoughts on that fight, or are you not really familiar with Gaethje?
Is that the 55-pounder?
It is.
Yeah, that kid's tough.
Yeah, he is. He's almost like a MMA Rocky. Almost seems like, which doesn't mean he just gets hit a lot, but he can take a licking and keep on ticking. Interesting guy. What do you think? Michael Johnson definitely doesn't want another loss, and this kid's trying to make a good impression his first UFC fight. You think he's going to find himself over his head against Michael Johnson, or you think that could be a tight, interesting fight?
I think it's a very interesting fight. You know, a fight is a fight in MMA, man. And styles is what makes fights. A lot of people don't understand that or realize that, but style make fights. Whether it's entertaining or whether it's technical, a fight is a fight, and everybody's got a puncher's chance. That's going to be an interesting fight. I'm actually going to watch that one.
Yeah, and that's on Friday, and that's the main event. The co-main is been blacked out on the screen because they don't want people to know yet, I guess, until tonight who the guys that won the Ultimate Fighter, that both won their last fight is. But that'll be filled in, I think, tomorrow, and that'll be the co-main, the guys who are fighting to be the Ultimate Fighter here in 2017. And then they've got some other good fights on that card. Should be interesting. And then we have the next day where we have Shevchenko against Nunez. And I'm not sure if we broke that down before, but are you following the women a little bit? Do you have any opinion on Amanda Nunez against the Russian Valentina Shevchenko?
Nah, you know what? I try to stay away from the girls' fight. It's just not my thing. You know what I mean? There's some tough girls out there. You know, after that whole Ronda ordeal, I was just like, whatever.
I hear you.
And the Cris Cyborg, you know.
Yep. Not really. You're watching it too much as the guys, for sure. Now
I'm watching to train and teach and beat.
Yep.
So I don't really have girls fighting right now.
That makes sense. Although I do think that a girl with wrestling who was just on this last segment, Tonya Evinger, I think a girl with good wrestling could do something against Cyborg. Would that make sense to you, or do you think there's?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. That's one of Cyborg's weaker areas. You know, but again, you know, when you've altered your body and
Yep.
You know, she's a little different. She's a different girl. She's not like the average girl. So
yep, that's true.
Everything's going to her favor, if you ask me.
Yeah, that's true. But I think Tonya can do some wrestling, and she's a really good wrestler. Won 11 fights in a row, so she's coming at Cyborg with a lot of confidence. But let's jump on to some men fighting here on this great card this Saturday, and see what you think. Yoel Romero against Robert Whittaker. Love to hear the Antonio McKee breakdown. Can Whittaker do to Yoel Romero what he did to Jacare Souza?
Yes.
He can, but will he? What do you think?
Let's worry about this cardio, man. That guy's cardio has been suspect. But is he explosive? Is he powerful? Does he have what it takes to knock somebody out? Absolutely. He's a threat the whole time. If I was to bet, I'd bet on him. I'd my money be on him.
On Romero.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so too. He's amazing. And at 40 years old, I think he's only been in MMA for 6 or 7 years. So he doesn't have a lot of mileage on him, and just a great wrestler. Silver medalist out of Cuba, I think. And he's a unique guy too. Entertaining, explosive guy. That should be a really competitive fight, don't you think? Because that Whittaker is so tricky and unorthodox with his counterpunching and slick.
Yeah. But you know what? That guy, man, I'm going to tell you, when you feel power like that, all of a sudden all those tricks and treats go out your bag.
Yeah.
You start
Sorry.
You know, you're not risking getting hit by a guy like him because he's got the ability to knock you out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With one punch. And guys like that really alter the whole game of MMA on the feet. Guys don't want to really be there. They move around, touch and go. But this guy's very explosive. Yeah. And I think he has the edge. I think I might bet on that fight.
Yeah, and because they're making Whittaker the favorite. It started out Romero the favorite, something like -160, -170 for everyone who doesn't know, which means it started out you had to bet $160 or $170 on Romero to win 100. Now, all of a sudden, if you bet 100 on Romero, you're winning back $135, $140. So money had come in on Whittaker, although that could change. But yeah, I think Romero as well. And Whittaker is so slick and so tough, but I think Romero can take that Jacare fight and use it as a little bit of a blueprint, what not to do. And I think also he's more explosive puncher. Jacare wasn't threatening Whittaker too much on the feet. The whole thing was if he could get him down, whereas Romero is so explosive and athletic. That I think he's going to be threatening him there, and that's going to be a good fight with Romero winning. What do you think about the rematch with Alistair Overeem and Fabricio Verdum?
You know, Verdum has been he just hasn't been looking so good. He's got a lot of miles. He's got a lot of rough miles on his car.
Yep.
Overeem, you know, since he's started his new diet, he's got off his horse meat. He stopped eating horse meat, and it seems like his digestive system is working a little better now. He's more cautious mentally.
Yep.
He's looking at things from more of a technical aspect as before the bull in the china cabinet.
Yep.
So I can appreciate what he's doing too. You know, it may not be the most entertaining fight of the night, but it definitely will be. I think it'll be Overeem all the way.
Yeah, and Overeem, he's looking. Have you noticed the last 4 or 5 years since he did some training with John Jones, he's looking like he's got some of those Bones Jones moves, some of those, those kicks, kicking toward the knee, oblique kicks, and other type of things. He looks like he's implemented some of Bones' stuff in his game, and it's made him better. I think he's a lot more of a strategic type of fighter than he was years ago. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yes. Most definitely when you train, iron sharpen iron, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So.
Absolutely.
I think. I think he's becoming some. He's going to be a force to deal with in a minute. I think he's got to, get used to the way his weight is.
Yeah.
You know, he's not as big and bulky as he used to be, so he doesn't believe in the power like he used to. But I believe over about 6 months time from now, he's going to be simmering into that new physique, that new truck.
Mm-hmm. Very possible. I think so too. And I think he's still got some good mileage, and he's got a great team. They seem like good guys over at Jackson Wink, and I think Overeem could win that fight. Obviously, he doesn't want to end up on the bottom with Fabricio Verdum on the top. But if he can avoid that, he should be good. And his jits is all right, too. He's very experienced. Alistair over him, yeah. And then what about going down to the big card? Jones and DC. Love to hear a breakdown and analysis on that fight from you, Antonio McKee.
Okay, well, I've been watching DC and I've been watching Jones. Jones is my guy. I love Jones. He's a great guy to me. I like him. Mm-hmm. He represents real. DC, kind of like the big old marshmallow guy, smile in your face and get what he got to get. Hey, that works for him. Mm-hmm. I think his body is tired. The weight cut. He's taken some damage. He's had some tough fights. He's won some easy fights, but he's not young. And the weight cut, most definitely, he's actually healthier, but he's not comfortable cutting that weight. We've seen some issues with his weight. Jones walks in there and makes weight like it's no problem. Yep. Jones is way longer, way more explosive. He out-wrestled him in the first fight. Jones, to me, overall, has just got phenomenal skill sets. I prided some of my techniques off of Jones to apply to my son. I just changed the footwork a little bit. Mm-hmm. But to me, I think Jones is going to just beat his ass. Yeah. I think Jones is going to beat him up.
So you think it's going to be more one-sided than it was a couple years ago when they first fought?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I know it'll be more one-sided. The thing about this is Jones really doesn't like DC.
No,
and
true.
When you get a guy like Jones that can stay a foot away from you and hit you and kick you and do things to you like that he does, and everything is, DC doesn't threaten him in any form or fashion.
Yeah.
So when a man is not threatened, he'll take chances and he'll take opportunities. And Jones has been proven doing that even when he was threatened. That's his style of fighting. I think people need to understand that's how Jones fights. And it's so elusive to a lot of people, the stuff that he does. And I just can't see Cormier. What are you going to do to him?
Yeah.
He's not going to out-wrestle him. We saw that. He's not going to out-strike him. We saw that.
Yeah.
Was he going to kick him?
No.
We saw that.
Yeah.
If anything, Jones will take him down and beat him up.
Yeah.
So I'm rooting for my boy Jones all the way.
Yeah. What do you think about people that say the reason why it could go the other way is ring rust on the part of Jones and Cormier being more familiar with what he has to do and having his gas tank better and maybe not being as cocky as what he went in thinking on that first fight?
You can do all that and you can say all that. Let me tell you something about Bone Jones.
Yes.
He's an athlete, okay? He's an athlete, and, he was partying, he was having fun, and look at what he was doing.
Yeah.
He was still thrashing the division.
That's true.
So when you take a guy like that and you make him hungry, and you get him motivated, and you get him pumped up, and you get him pissed off, that's not a guy I want to be pissing off before a fight.
No.
Especially if he was doing blow and whatever he was doing the night before and banging chicks and having a good old time.
Right.
Hey, and he kicked your ass.
Yeah.
So now you pissed him off, and he's not doing any of that.
Yeah. It's worse.
What do you think outcome is this going to be?
Yeah. I hear what you're saying. What do you think about the people that point out that Jones is doing some interesting things that is effective, but that some people criticize, like some of these kicks to the knees and a little bit of like a yanking someone's shoulder like he did on Glover Teixeira, that he's doing some stuff that's kind of hurting people, but that is the name of the game, isn't it? Do you have any problem with that stuff? Yeah, you don't have any problem with that stuff.
Hey, you know what? If you don't like it, change the damn rules. But you know what? You guys made this sport barbaric.
Right.
You made it the way it is. You want entertainment, blood, and dismantle guys in the middle of a fight. Hey, don't get mad at him for mastering the craft of what you guys are loving and like to see.
Yeah.
He's giving the fans what they want, some gory shit.
Yep.
And I talked to Rampage about that. Rampage was like, man, he's bad for the sport. I'm like, why, Rampage?
Yeah.
He said, man, he was kicking my knees. He was messing my knees up, and there's nothing about that. That's just ending people's careers.
Right.
And
yeah. Hey, that's the name of the game, though. Yeah.
If you knocked him out and you broke his neck,
yeah,
what's the difference?
Right.
You hit hard. You shouldn't hit people so hard.
Right.
Come on, man.
Yep.
When you have an advantage over people, they will always criticize you.
Yep. That makes sense. And he's an amazing athlete. He really is. Do you think he gets DC out of there this time, or do you think we can count on another distance fight?
Nah, you know what? I think he's gonna finish DC.
Yeah.
For sure.
Very well.
I think he's gonna finish him in the 3rd or 4th round.
Okay, that's a
You know what? He may finish him in the 2nd. Shit, ain't no telling. Depends. You know, I'm a Jones guy all the way.
Yeah.
Or DC's never been. You know, no. just nothing personally. I like what he's accomplished in the sport, but you ask me who's the better guy. I like Jones, man. Right. Jones is more of an asshole like me.
I love it. What do you think? And they love him over at Jackson Wink. They actually say John Jones is one of the guys over there that will go to the new guys and introduce himself. And if he sees them come in with their clothes in a paper bag, he'll even give them his duffel bag with UFC insignia on him. So they say that Jones really is a good guy to people, not to make up for the stuff he's done or put that under the rug, but it is what it is. But they say that there's a lot of evidence over there.
He's a human being, man. He's a human being. He's a high-profile person. Yeah. He got caught up in some bullshit that everybody does. Yeah. Everybody smokes some weed. Everybody's done a little blow that's made it to the top. Yeah. Even poor fucking people done a little blow. Yeah. You know, everyone's had a couple of girls here or there. Yeah. So what? Yep. Shit, even the president did a little blow. You know what I mean?
Yep, that's it. That's very true.
And got a little head.
Yeah, that's
so what's the problem?
Exactly. It is what it is. How do you think the battle for #1 pound for pound, we have John Jones and Demetrius Johnson. You think they're neck and neck, or you give it up to your guy Jones or Mighty Mouse?
No, man. Mighty Mouse is that's another special one.
Yeah, he's amazing, isn't
he? He's done an amazing job. He hasn't said much. I know how the UFC works. That's why my son's fighting in Bellator.
Yeah. Because they have not been treating Mighty Mouse. That really made me angry when he had to come out and say, they were saying, if you don't go up and wait and take this fight, how about we just get rid of your division? That's shameful for a man who should be that respected as pound for pound, first or second, best out there in the world, talking about getting rid of his division if he doesn't cooperate. That's really a shame, and I'm glad he spoke out. And I just hope something positive comes from it. I would think fans have supported him, I hope.
Well, again, it's a double-edged sword. You got a guy out there that's winning. Of course, they're going to want to see his downfall.
Yeah.
And if he loses, then you're going to get the haters saying see.
Yeah.
But, Dana's always been an asshole to me.
Yeah.
The business is the business. He's done a damn good job with the UFC, but he's an asshole. He is what he is.
Yeah.
I don't know many people that just really like Dana because he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
A lot of people just like Dana because of the position that he's in and the things that he's able to do for him. But other than that, almost everybody I talked to said Dana's an asshole. So that's nothing new.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard the best thing I've heard a guest say about him, who was more in the behind-the-scenes executive, was that he does know the man tries to put in a bunch of hours going out and doing his job, but then again, you should be, if you're getting paid that handsomely, put in a bunch of hours doing your job. But as far as anyone holding him up as the nicest guy out there, I haven't heard anyone holding him up as that as well. So I hear your point, and yeah, to give Demetrius Johnson, of all people, a hard time, that's a shame. There's nothing good about that. But interesting matchups. How about this? Cowboy and Lawler, man. Love to hear your thoughts on that fight coming up.
That's like Cowboys and Indians. That's Cowboys and Indians right there. Lawler's the Indian, and Cowboy is
Cerrone the Cowboy.
Yeah. That I just shit.
That's a tough one, isn't it?
Depends, man. I think Lawler's just gonna I don't know. That's a tough one. From the looks of the way things have been going.
Yeah.
I don't think Lawler has the same timing that he used to have. I don't think he has the same chin.
Yeah.
Tyron knocked him out pretty good.
Yeah.
But that's after years and years of getting hit a lot and not getting knocked out.
Right.
Anytime you put that type of power behind a sledgehammer, something's gonna break. I think Cowboy's just gonna outgame him.
Yeah. The interesting thing is they both have their chins checked and not look as strong as they once were. So could this be a battle of two guys? Whoever gets their chin touched first loses. Could that possibly be what we see here?
Yeah, but let's look at the tail of the tape.
Yeah,
we haven't seen Robbie Lawler get knocked out like he got knocked out against Tyron Woodley.
Just that once, yep.
So, I can't see Cowboy hitting him that hard either.
No, I wouldn't think so.
So, I would go with Lawler on this one.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking that. And Cowboy is so popular. He's such a tough guy. He's a guy that would say, I'll fight in June, and then you need me to fight in late July, I'll fight then. And if you need me to fight again in early September, I'll fight then. And so you got to love a guy like that, and also seemed like a fan favorite, a guy that didn't ever have a bad attitude and always loved the fans and always smiled and was happy to do whatever. So you hate to cheer against him, and I'm not going to cheer against him, but it does seem to me that the fact that there was just that one knockout of an example of Lawler's chin getting checked, whereas Cowboy has taken a couple beatings where he was in it. He was never completely well, he did get completely annihilated by RDA, but it seems like there's just been some situations that are showing that his chin is starting to show the miles on it. And it seems to me that that's going to make it tough. Only thing I can think of is if he can be aware of that and really try to stay on the outside and throw all kinds of kicks and punches and knees and really make sure that he's trying to pile up the points on Lawler. That might be the thought, and then Lawler throwing punches at him. But I hope it's exciting. I think it will be. I don't think it can be anything but exciting. And I would say probably one of the best bets, tell me if you agree, would be that this fight does not go the distance. What do you think?
I agree. Yeah, I don't think that's going to go the distance.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
Yep, absolutely.
Robbie Lawler comes to either knock you out or get knocked out.
Yep,
so he's definitely the fan favorite. I hope he's being compensated for what he's worth, because he's definitely the kind of style that people want to see.
Absolutely, and a tremendous warrior, man. Lawler in some of those fights, just, whether it was back in Strikeforce, the ones against Scott, Hands of Stone, I think Smith, were some amazing fights. Remember that fight against Melvin Manhoof, where that was crazy. Manhoof was just kicking the shit out of his. Oh man, he was kicking the shit out of him, beating his legs, smashing his legs. And I think, tell me if I'm wrong, I think Manhoof maybe started to get a little bit cocky. I think he started to say, "I'm just beating this guy down."
Yeah.
You're right.
And I think he got a little cocky and a little tired of beating him up.
Yeah, that's true too. A little tired. Didn't think of that. A little bit tired too. And then Lawler was just ready, man. Ready when that opportunity presented himself to strike. And then another real underrated fight I thought was when Lawler fought Carlos Condit. Remember that war about 3 years ago, 2-3 years ago?
Yeah.
Man, I had about a dozen people in my home there, man. You could even hear yourself say anything. It was so loud. You know what I mean? I mean, it was incredible. I think that was a fight also that could have gone either way. I think Carlos Condit could very well have won the title that night, and he didn't. And he was just such a tough guy in and of it, his own right. But Lawler just toughed it out. And I think then there was a fight with Rory McDonald also, who's a great addition to Bellator, where he had that big chunk, looked like a shark bit his lip. Remember that one with Lawler? Yeah. So he's such a tough guy. I think it's going to be tough. Let me ask you this one here coming up, and I think we talked about it briefly, to be honest, but wanted to save it for on here. I know that you have a really good, interesting perspective on Maia versus Woodley, and I know that the odds, I think, are going to be fairly close. I haven't seen him yet. Got to be Woodley a bit of a favorite. I like Woodley. I've always liked Woodley. I think he's an amazing champion. I think that Maia is a humble and a nice guy, and I think a good jiu-jitsu guy that people love. And he's coming up on 40 years old, and so a lot of people like to see the older guy finally get something. But I'd like to hear your breakdown, because you do have some good insight that kind of I've thought is putting a light on it that not a lot of people who have thought of, who are feeling this is a dead even fight. Talk to me a little bit about your thoughts on Woodley and Maia.
Woodley's my friend, not only my friend, I've trained him, coached him. The thing with Woodley is, his I've always told him about his cardio. He says, "Oh, my cardio's fine, my cardio's fine." Well, you got to start fighting fights to finish fights, not to carry him 25 minutes distance. You know what the fans want.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to give the fans what they want, you want to fight the way you want to fight, that's fine. But then don't get upset when you're not the fans' favorite.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't give a shit about the fans when I fought because I wasn't fighting for fans. I was fighting to be the best fighter.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I didn't understand the aspect of entertainment part of it.
Right.
So at the end of my career, I kind of got it. Age catches up with you faster than the criticism.
Yeah.
And so then I was able to make some adjustments in training my son and all the guys that I train. If you notice, they're all very exciting, spinning moves, kicks to the head, kicks to the body.
That's right. The stuff that you would, if you turn back the clock, that you would have put in that stuff in your game. I know. That's kind of what you're saying. Yep, absolutely.
Right. So I went back and I drew I wrote some stuff down, took some notes. And Tyron's very explosive, extremely powerful, extremely difficult to take down. I don't think he's ever been taken down in a fight. I tried to take him down for 15 minutes. We're going back and forth. Neither one of us could take each other down for 15 minutes.
Nice.
Wrestling. So I see this guy getting knocked out. I see Tyron knocking him out.
Yeah.
If you've never stood in front of Tyron, the first move is very, 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 it's like an illusion. You don't really see it until you get hit with it. You can study the tape, but it's not the same when you see a guy that actually move that fast and hit you.
Yeah.
My thing is, will Tyron be in shape to go 5-5s?
Right.
This is going to be a cat and mouse game like the last fight.
Yep.
I think Tyron's going to try to knock him out when he does go, but the problem is, does he recover from that, or does he gas out and go in survival mode until to the next round? And I can't see Maya beating him. I got Tyron a decision, easy.
Yeah.
A decision. It's on the feet, moving around. Tyron doesn't like to take chances now. I don't know what's wrong with him. Why he's fighting the way he's fighting? Because if he actually went out there and went gun ho until that guy was done, a lot of guys can't deal with his power, so a lot of them would break before he gassed all the way out.
Yeah.
The problem is he needs to train right. He's training his muscles wrong. I've talked to him about it, and if he makes the adjustments, he does. If he doesn't, he doesn't.
Yeah, it is what it is. I think he feels confidence in being his own trainer, which is unfortunate, and obviously I personally can't comment as far as my experience.
Take chances now. I don't know what's wrong with him.
Yeah.
Why he's fighting the way he's fighting.
Yeah.
Because if he is there a short in the line?
No, for a quick second. You said if he had, and then it looked like there was a blip, but go ahead, follow up with that. If he had.
If he had what? No, I didn't say anything.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, about him training, maybe there was some blip because I heard you pause. But so yeah, if he would train, not only that, but I think he's wanting to be his head trainer. If he could train with you or some people that could put him through the paces, because if he shored that up in his game and could maybe have more confidence in his cardio, I think because that's kind of what I pictured after he knocked out Robbie Lawler. I said, man, this guy is going to be tearing it up. I said, this guy is going to be putting it on people and taking out people. No one's going to be able to take him down. He's going to be smashing people. And then he didn't, and not that he didn't have a tricky opponent against with Wonderboy Thompson twice, but it does seem like he's cautious and maybe he's not quite sure that he can rely on his cardio, and that's really what it is, isn't it?
Right. Well, come on, Wonderboy. The way to beat Wonderboy, you get in his face and you let him have it. You don't play on the outside.
Yeah.
You get in his face and you bang him up good. You know.
Yeah. He did that in the fifth round, I think, in that last fight.
Yeah. You know, when your body frame is only, your body can only do so many things when it's compact and explosive like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why to play on the outside and do all the stuff that he was doing, I don't know, but it worked. He won. His payday said win.
Yep.
Can't complain about that.
Yeah, exactly. Now, let me ask you this. This is one thing I think a lot of fans are a little bit confused about that I think you can throw some light on. You know, as a very experienced wrestler that you were, and a really good one, people I think sometimes don't understand the difference between levels. Now, people look at Damian Maia and say he took down this guy, he took down that guy. I think the last thing they talk about is him beating Conor McGregor's buddy, the Icelander Gunnar Nelson. And and Gunnar Nelson is no joke. He's a really good grappler, and then Maia kept taking him down. Now Maia also did have some success taking down Jorge Masvidal, who was also a pretty good grappler. But I think the difference, because people are thinking, if he did that, how do we know we're not going to see Maia taking down Woodley at will? But I think it's just the difference of level, isn't it, that Woodley's at compared to those guys, right?
Yeah, you're also talking style. Tyron Woodley doesn't sit flat-footed either, so it's a lot easier to penetrate on a guy that's flat-footed versus a guy that's moving.
Yeah.
Tyron's a mover, so it's going to be very difficult to get up under his hips and then take his hips away from him. He's got very, very explosive, powerful hips, so even if you do get there, what you got to deal with when you...
Yeah. Antonio? Antonio,
Hello?
yeah, sorry, that time we had a blip. Yeah, when you do get there, what you got to deal with is dangerous. Like, because if Maia tried to shoot in and couldn't get Woodley down and puts himself, so he can get knocked cold. He could easily get knocked cold. Not only that, if he shoots in and hits against Tyron's hips, he could get knocked cold out there. Someone was telling me, I think it was Fernando Gonzalez in Bellator. He said he was training with Dan Henderson back in the day, and he shot in, and Henderson moved his hips so explosively, almost knocked him out with his hips.
Yeah. No. Tyron's got some very powerful hips, very strong hips. I don't even think he's going to get close to taking Tyron down. So that's out of the... I'd be surprised and have to eat my words.
Yeah, but the one thing is he's going to have to try that, because if he wants to stay in a boxing game with Tyron, that's just, I can't see anything there. Maybe he's 3 inches taller than Tyron, but he's 10 years older than him and not a striker. So, it seems dangerous. From what I'm listening to you say, it really makes sense that this does seem like a fight that genuinely may not even be that dangerous for Tyron.
Yeah, I think Tyron may finish him because he might feel comfortable. Like, what is he gonna do?
Yeah, it's just, it would really have to be that something odd happened in a scramble, and that's what Maia loves to do. You know what I mean? Do you think that Tyron is going to necessarily try to take down Maia, or do you think he's not even going to really mess with that too much?
Nah, I don't think he'll try to take him down. It's one of Tyron's weaker areas.
Mm-hmm.
When Tyron's on the bottom, is when he's on top. I'm not going to say anything bad about him because that's my buddy, but that's an area where he needs to work on that. He spends a lot of time boxing on his feet.
Right.
He doesn't spend much time trying to submit or going over ground stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that's part of the cardio issue, is that you don't train your body to shoot these high-level takedowns and this quick ground and pound, this dominant control on top, and you got guys that are real wiry and scrambly, and that'll gas you out, especially if guys are learning how to throw their elbows from their back now.
Yeah.
That's an intense moment, man.
Yeah, it is. You know what I always think of when someone mentions that? Remember that crazy fight going way, way back, probably when you were just starting? They had Kevin Randleman, God bless him, the late Kevin Randleman, against Boss Rutan, and Boss was throwing those elbows from his back, and everyone knows that Randleman did win that fight, and they gave it to Boss. But remember that craziness? Boss was hitting him on the top of his head with the downward elbows and all that stuff?
Yeah.
And the guys can do that, but yeah, you got to be able to have that balance. But I think, speaking about, who had that, Fedor back in his pride days was doing some of that amazing ground and pound. Remember that power he would get in just a few couple short inches, popping people? I remember you could hear that pop. I remember, speaking of Boss Rutan, he was saying this is, crazy, right?
Yeah. The Iceman just walked in. It got cold in here.
Did he? I like that. You feel the cold. Let me check my producer on time because we don't want to miss the Iceman. Joey just came in, so and I know we're live on the air here, but we have to keep going a little bit. Is that all right, Adam?
Yeah, let's take a short break.
Okay, we're going to take a short break, and then we're going to come back, and we can get Joey set up to do a great interview. So let me tell you, we'll be right back with you, Antonio. Stay with us here. Or do we want to stay with them, or we're going to call them back on the connection on the Skype panel?
We'll call them back.
Okay, you can press the disconnect, Antonio. We're going to call you back probably in about 3 minutes and get everything set up during the commercial break, maybe even 2 minutes.
Okay, you got it.
Excellent. Appreciate it, my friend. Talk to you shortly. Okay. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we do have Joey, the Iceman.
Hi, my name is David Fimbres with Boulevard Moving. We're a 5-star moving company here in Southern California with offices in Arizona and Nevada. We cover local, long-distance moving and your full storage needs.
Why choose Boulevard Moving? Well, that's simple. We offer 5-star ratings in local directories, information and guidance throughout the process, certified moving consultants, expert packers, and movers. 24/7 availability for moving and packing services. Highly recommended among the area's most prestigious realtors and estate managers. Our mission is to deliver superior customer service and to provide the highest level of quality workmanship for the physical movement of goods. We strive to maintain a level of communication that eliminates the stress and inherent concern people have when hiring a moving service, be it residential or commercial. Call us today at 844-274-0500 or visit www.boulevardmoving.com.
And welcome back to the MMA Power Hour. So glad you guys stayed with us. We have been talking about a young man who is one of the hottest prospects out there, training under Antonio McKee at Team Body Shop, side by side with his good friend for many years, AJ McKee. And we are lucky enough to have him here, made it through the LA traffic and doing some other important volunteer work that he does. Hard to find a young man that's doing volunteer work nowadays, so that's a beautiful thing. I think you all agree. And we are talking about Mr. Joey Davis Jr. Welcome to the show, Joey.
Thank you for having me, guys. Thank you. It's a blessing.
Our pleasure. And I know we had Antonio there. We kept him talking for a while, so if he wanted to jump in, he could. But if he wants to just let you sit here, either way, you can let him know. Or if he hears Antonio in the background, you're welcome to jump in and sit there if you want. Or we can talk to Joey, whatever you want. But we have the opening for both of you. But I'm telling you, one thing I remember is that when you were playing football, you were playing Pop Warner for 5 years under Snoop Dogg himself, and he called you the Iceman. But I saw on the website that you didn't want to infringe upon Chuck Liddell, so I think Black Ice, Joey Black Ice Davis is who you are going by.
That's the name I'm going with, man. That's the name I'm going with.
I like that. I like it. Sounds good, man. Well, we're excited to have you on, man. So many good things that you've done, man. That wrestling career, how you could win all 4 years at the NAIA and be a national champion 4 years out of 4, man. That's amazing. What did you have any kind of gold like that to do that, or at what point did you feel like you were going to be able to just keep on winning and winning back in college wrestling?
Oh man, it was never a goal of mine. My goal was just to make my coaches happy. Nice. That's the plan the whole time, man. They're giving me the money to go there. They're giving me the scholarship, and I just didn't want to be that kid that they gave the scholarship to and waste it.
Nice.
So the whole opportunity, man, was just going there, working hard, getting in there with the older kids, learning as much as possible. And I was already a hard worker in high school, man. I always wanted to be the best at everything I've done. I had a great coach, Antonio, who's been my role model since I was 5 years old. You know, he's 8 years undefeated in the MMA game, which is incredible.
Oh, yeah.
So I always had the work ethic, and I just needed the mentor to tell me that I had the work ethic, and then I was going to go a long ways.
Yep.
When I got to college, man, it was just a truly blessing that I had a great staff that wanted me to be the star of the program. You know, a lot of people don't want to be the star of the program. It's a lot of pressure. They got to do a lot of things and the opportunity and a lot of things they don't want to go through. So I like being a star. I like being the person everybody want to watch to see. It's just something that's just in me. I feel like I love being the chosen one.
Yep.
It's nothing more hunger than drives me to that than being the chosen one, man.
I like that, man, and you have that work ethic, man. I remember professional athletes back when I was a kid because I was always pretty good at this and that. I always liked to play some football. I played some soccer. I played some tennis. I was starting to do a little bit of martial arts when I was younger, and I was always kind of thinking, man, you know, what is this going to take? And didn't end up pursuing things to any serious high level anywhere near what you're talking about. But I remember watching interviews and athletes that were the best, and I said, what do they have to say? And I remember they said the dedication is there. They said, you know, if your friends are out at parties, you're there practicing your sport. If your friends are, you know, are chilling and you know, spending a whole weekend going up to, you know, beach or mountains and whatever, you're practicing your sport. You know, if friends are, you're having relatives in town and hanging on and going to amusement parks, you're practicing your sport. And that's, you know, right, that's really what the winners and the top guys are doing, man. So there's a lot to give you credit for that dedication, man. And I like, and I like the pictures that I've seen. There are those pictures with you and AJ McKee when you were like 7 and he was 6 or something, or 8, and all kinds of shots, right?
We have a few of them together, man. We have a few of them together. It's a lot of memories me and that kid has, and they're still coming to go, man. Like I said, I had my first professional fight with them, and that was just a blessing. So we got a lot more things coming, and sky's just the limit for us too. If we just keep our focus and keep our driven, keep our goals, and then sky's the limit.
Without a doubt. And I had a great interview with AJ, and I'm really high on him, seeing what he can do and having his dad there training him and just his natural ability. And I told him that, and he's had several fights, and I know you've had that one, but still, I'm very impressed. I'm impressed. And not only the fact that you have that absolutely amazing record and wrestling pedigree, but yet you were doing MMA type of training going back 5 and 10 years before college with Antonio McKee and AJ, right?
Yes, sir.
Man, that's amazing. That's serious. That really is serious.
And all that was just, you know, I was just trying it out as a kid just to try to stay in shape for football and stay in shape for wrestling, because I didn't know what I was going to do at an older age. I wasn't sure what the case I was going to do. So I'm just having a moment right now because I'm just so thankful that I was doing that at a young age, because if I would have just started now, man, I don't know what would be happening. But thank God that I got the opportunity to start training and get the blues knocked out of me at a young age. And it's still happening now, but since it happened so at a young age, I'm kind of used to it now, so it's working out.
Absolutely.
It's working out.
Absolutely. And your dad he wrestled, and he was a wrestling coach, right?
Yeah, he was a wrestler. He been, you know, he coached at Cerritos College, where Antonio McKee went, and stuff like that. So they went to the same college. And my dad got to coach high school wrestling and stuff like that, and his career stopped at about that time because he was so focused on me, and stuff like that. So he was. Everybody calls him Coach Davis as well, but you know, he always says that he is nearest coach. He's not the nearest coach as he is as Antonio and other people. He just likes to be the parent and go out and watch and stuff like that.
Absolutely. He's a good man. I've talked to your dad a few times and really respect him a lot. And absolutely, you've got some great role models there. And so let me ask you with one thing. I believe that the football that you played also in high school, I bet that comes in handy a little bit as well with your explosiveness and athleticism that does apply to MMA. Am I right? And can you tell us a little bit about that? A lot of people see that these NFL players come in and make some noise. Matt Mitrione, and then before him, even Brendan Schaub, and you know,
Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, and Brock Lesnar. Right, yeah. Tell us a little bit about how the football has come in handy, do you think, and how it can really help people in MMA.
I want to say the football helped me with mentally toughness, just, you know, going with bigger people all the time. You know, I didn't want to go against head up with the bigger people all the time. So it just kind of mentally prepared you, like, damn, I got to do it. You know, it helped me with that. It also helped me with my footwork and stuff as well. You know, just hand coordination, just being coordinated with my body. Right. You know, a lot of people not coordinated with their body. You know, I just, you know, I'm very agile. I think the football very helped me with that. The footwork, you know, the mental preparation, going with bigger people and things like that, and keeping my body coordinated. Yeah. I think that's what it helped me with all the time was wrestling, and it just helped everything. It helped everything. But football, it kept me agile, kept me active, kept my body moving, and then I can do a lot of things that a lot of people don't think they can do with their body, and that's what helped me with, I think.
Yeah, I would agree, and I think it's a really good complement to wrestling. So I think you've got an amazing formula. The fact that you're training under Antonio McKee with AJ in mixed martial arts long before wrestling, and then you go and become a prolific and decorated wrestling national champion and world champion, and then played some football as well. So to me, you know, having been like I said, an athlete on a much lower level, but a good one back in the day, you know, those things to me are incredibly impressive. And I think that probably very few people out there have the wrestling pedigree you have, the experience in training from so young with such a great camp like the McKees, and the guidance of your dad and Antonio, and then also playing football. So no, I'm really excited about your prospects, man, because I think you really have so many of these bases covered. You have to feel really well prepared for an MMA fight, I would bet, huh?
Yes, sir, I am. But you almost can't be too prepared, because you could get knocked out anytime. But that is a case of, I do feel a lot ready. But my coaches, I have really great coaches like Antonio, keeping me humble. You know what I mean? Because I'm not like a cocky kid, but sometimes I do get a little cocky with my abilities, and I always think I could do everything. I could do anything I want to do. I can kick, I can punch, I can either hand is tough. My takedowns is tough. But you can't get too arrogant with the abilities, and I'm only 23 years old, and I'm continuing to learn, and that's the scary part. That's the kryptonite, and it's a good part. You could be so good at a certain point that it can hurt you. You know what I mean? I just want to keep rising to the top as much as I can, and that's the problem with me. Just staying humble, staying focused on what I have to do, and just taking my time and taking the bits and pieces that I have to.
I agree, and that's a really good answer, man, and I'm really glad you gave that answer, because you're right. I mean, someone can say some things and then people can get a big head, and that's not good, because I've been a combat sports fan for many years, and I should have asked Antonio this, but I found almost a pattern that if someone starts coming on so strong, they get so cocky, almost always blows up in their face. There's so many occasions that I've seen that happen with hype and someone who lets their head get big. So I'm really glad you said that. That is very important, because you're right. A fight is a fight, and you don't know what's going to happen, and you can be really prepared. But if you let your head get too big, or people blow up your head to where you think there's no danger and you're just going to crush everyone, that's when it doesn't go well. So I like that you have that humility and serious focus and listening to your coaches, and that's one of the key things. Being able to be someone that listens and respects people that have been there before you and have that experience, man. So no, I think you're in good hands. It seems like you have a really good attitude. You respect your dad and Antonio, and you have a good time, and you're humble, and just want to do really well. And I think your drive and determination in the wrestling has probably taken hold, and is the same attitude you have going into your MMA career, I'm sure.
Yes, it is, sir. Yes, it is.
Nice. And do you have any preference? Do you feel like in your next fight you want to try out your striking more? Give us a rundown. That first fight went what? 2 rounds?
3 rounds.
3 rounds.
3 rounds.
Yeah,
it went all 3.
That's right. And I remember, I think Antonio was hoping you'd get in some time, and even encourage that a little bit in that fight. I think I heard.
Yeah, I felt like the fight still frustrates me a lot. I'm happy with my performance, but I thought I could have got there's a lot of things I could have done more, a lot of, continuous punches, counter punches. I felt like he was chasing me a lot, and I wasn't reacting because I was nervous, not doing the things that I always do in practice. But that was the first one. But coming into this second fight is just getting more comfortable and being more rounded and doing everything that I like to do in practice. I didn't get the opportunity to do the things I like to do in practice that I didn't do the first fight. Right. I was boxing too much, worrying about the crowd, because the crowd gets you going. You know what I mean? You always want to do what the fans want you to do, but it don't work all the time, and it frustrates me because I didn't have the performance I wanted. So, and that's what excites me, because you always get to go back and redo it. So, this fight, hopefully, I just get to do everything I'm working on in practice, and that's just everything. I'm not specifically working on a specific thing. I'm kind of like McGregor, man. I'm working on my whole craft. He's a guy I study a lot because I feel like we're very similar. So I'm just trying to work on all my crafts, both leg kicks, both punches, takedowns, jiu-jitsu, everything every day, as much as I can. Hopefully it turns out in this fight. So I just want to do everything. I want to kick him, punch him with both hands. I want to get a takedown, and I want to get it finished.
I like it, and that's smart. And I think having the cage time, though, in that first fight, I think will come in handy, because you got to see a couple things that were annoying you or frustrating you or throwing you off a little bit. But I think getting a chance to feel that and see that is important, and still have it work out all right. So that cage time is important, and I think that, you can go and crush someone this time is good. How about your jiu-jitsu? The wrestling and jiu-jitsu has always been an interesting relationship, and sometimes marriage, and you have wrestlers that will pick up some jiu-jitsu and be at different levels of it, like a John Jones in an amazing way, and then you have a jiu-jitsu guy like a Damian Maia who can become not a prolific wrestler, but a good wrestler. But what are your feelings? Are you feeling comfortable in the jiu-jitsu? Have you been doing it for a while and you're liking your movement and your defense against submissions and your submission game? Or is that something that not you want to give away too much, but is that something that you're feeling like there's a lot more to go, or are you feeling pretty good about your jiu-jitsu?
What I'm focusing on, to be honest, right now is just the boxing, just getting comfortable more with getting hit and getting comfortable getting hit and delivering the punches back. Jiu-jitsu is something I'm kind of decent at, only because I'm myself with Damian Mai. I'm very patient, and I like mine because he's just such a patient guy. Takes his time, doesn't really listen to the crowd. He's one of my role models too. I've been studying him because he's a 4-time Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu champion. I'm also a 4-time college wrestling champ, but he's just in a different style and stuff like that.
Yep.
But it's I like him a lot. I watch him because he's just so patient, and there's nothing you can. His pressure is incredible.
Yep.
So that's the type of style I am. So I'm not really. I like Jiu-Jitsu because I'm a patient guy anyway, and it's just more relaxing as well. You know, wrestling. You know, you got to have better positioning, and you got to rush the positioning sometimes because you don't want the guy to get up. Here in Jiu-Jitsu, you can just be as patient as you want, relax until you get the choke. So my Jiu-Jitsu game is getting a lot better. Training with Manley, Jason High Manley, because terrific guy, just strong, flexible, agile. So I'm getting all the best of the world. So I just gotta take all the knowledge as I can and accept it, and like that I'm getting my butt kicked. That's the tough part. That I have so many guys rotating in on me, getting some. That's frustrating. So just taking it in and then taking my time, slowing it down. So I love the jiu-jitsu game because it's patient. And Damian Mai is a guy I really watch a lot. Is an expert at the game because I'm so much similar to him when I get an opportunity to be that way. So I like him a lot. Jiu-jitsu,
And then also, of course, obviously, not that you need to worry about it, but you keep in mind that also if you're not paying attention to the jits, then and you get a bad matchup, something goes wrong, unfortunately, like Aaron Pico, something like that can happen. So you want to be aware of your jits, but don't estimate someone else trying to throw some jits on you. You don't want to be sticking your neck out there and putting something out for someone to catch you with. I'm sure you're well aware of that with training under Antonio McKee.
Too much aware of it, Coach. Too much.
Nice. Good. I'm glad to hear that, man. Well, I'm telling you, I'm really excited to see you fight. And you have had a couple of different opponents. I know your dad told me. And is anyone set yet? Or I think there's still, I talked to you earlier, a couple of guys they're still talking about for August 25th. Have you heard anything more in the last several hours? Or is it still anyone?
I have not, Coach. I have not. I just been doing what I was been told what to do, just training, getting things I have to done. Like, I ain't worrying about that. I asked my coach probably tonight, to be honest with you. But I don't know. The guys keep switching, so hopefully we get a guy set in stone pretty soon so I can get more even prepared.
Absolutely. And then AJ is on that card, man. Is that going to be the first card you're on with AJ, or are you on that first fight with the same card as AJ?
This would be the second one. This would be the second card I'll be on with AJ, which is even incredible in New York if it happens. But the first one was at the Honda Center together and stuff like that. So this will be the second one, and and it's a family thing, so you can't get no better than that.
It is awesome, man.
Hopefully it is.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Oh, and it looks like we had a little bit of a problem right there. Can you hear me, Joey? Joey, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Not a problem at all. Had a little bit of a problem there, but there you go. Now you're a little bit out of the camera. Can we adjust that on our end, or do we have to have him move? Adam, I'm talking to my producer here.
They'll have to adjust.
Okay, can you? We have you sitting too low at the moment, Joey. Can we have you sit a little bit higher up? There we go. There we go. Oh, perfect. Yeah. Now you went a little bit too high up. Maybe a little bit lower and to your right. There we go. So we want to make you look good. We don't want to have half your head on there. Move to your right a little bit more, could you? I'm sorry. Because, yeah, we're seeing.
Right here?
Let me see. No. Let me see. Now you're too low and you're too far to the left. So a little bit higher and to your right.
Let me see.
That's better. Oh, hey. More to your right. Sorry about that. Sorry to have to keep on, but the Skype, because we want to get you good. Okay, now there, and go to your right a little bit more. So you turn your camera more to your. There we go. Camera to the right, and there, perfect. If you can keep it around there, you're right on camera.
Okay.
I appreciate that. I appreciate it. Perfect. There we go. So yeah, so that's going to be great, because I've got to say, when you're fighting professionally, you want to have a relaxed and comfortable and an atmosphere as possible. And to have AJ there and Antonio and your dad, that's got to be just probably a great feeling, because it almost doesn't even feel like there's anything that you have to be nervous about. You're just hanging with your family, right?
Yeah, the only thing I'm nervous about is my performance, man, because, you know, you work so hard, you just don't want your performance to suck.
Yeah.
That's my biggest fear. Yeah.
Yep, for sure. And I think that's probably what kept you winning in college wrestling, because I remember hearing some of the best fighters and athletes say that one of the things that stopped them from losing is they really didn't want to lose, and they were really that determined and nervous to not want to lose. And I remember I had that thought and embraced that in a jiu-jitsu match that I had and won against someone I probably shouldn't have beaten, but I just so much didn't want to lose. And so I bet that you have that driving you to keep you on track, I bet, huh?
Yes, it is. It ain't gone nowhere yet, Coach. It hasn't gone nowhere yet.
Excellent. I'm really glad, man. Well, I'm excited to see you fight. So, do you have some fighters that you like? I know you look very much up to Antonio McKee and Damian Maia. Was there anyone else there in the past or present that you're impressed with as far as a fighting style similar to yours, or that you like other than Damian Maia and Antonio McKee?
Oh, George St. Pierre off the top, man. George St. Pierre is a textbook icon to me, man. Just his whole IQ in the fight game, his takedown sense. He doesn't really listen to nobody. He doesn't care what nobody says. He's going to fight his way, and fight his style only, and he does it specifically on purpose. And I ain't seen nobody shut him down. So he's one of the guys that if I had a fight with, I'll be really extremely worried about, just because his IQ, his takedown defense, and everything.
Yeah.
I gotta say George St. Pierre is one of my idols.
I like that, and actually he is one of my favorite fighters as well, because he really, you're right, his fight IQ was amazingly high. He was able to fight his fight against whoever he fought, and just an amazing athlete, and had that wrestling, even though he got that almost like a prodigy, learning it starting at 20 or whatever, was amazing. But his athleticism, his focus, and then the wrestling base that he had created was amazing, and then being able to move and strike, and I could see you fighting like that, and I think that would be an amazing style. I think you're going to light it up, man. So I'm really excited to watch you fight, and just really, I will say right here, as far as a hot prospect with one fight, just the background of this young man and who he's training with and where he's training, I'm going to say also, I think this is for a super new fighter. With an amazing background, this is absolutely a fighter to watch that I tremendously believe in, Joey Black Ice Davis. So I'm going to put that on you, that I'm going to be behind you and seriously believing in what you'll be able to accomplish in this sport.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you.
Not a problem. So let me ask you this. Love to hear your prediction on maybe a couple fights coming up, and see what you think. You like Maia, but with Tyron Woodley in there, are you kind of thinking of what like what Antonio said? I don't know if you had gotten to the house there yet, but a lot of people are saying that could be a dead even fight. But I know that Antonio said that in reality, probably that's going to be a fight that Tyron Woodley shouldn't have too much problem with. Mm-hmm. From you as being a prolific college wrestler and champion, what do you think? You think pretty much that's just not a good matchup for Damian Maia, even though you like him, or what's your thought on that matchup?
To be honest with you, I'm excited to see what style is going to win, man. I don't know what's going to happen in this fight, but I'm going to go with Maia all arounds. I think Maia's gonna control the fight. I think it's just going to be a decision, whatever the judge is going to say. I don't think no knockout, no nothing. Mm-hmm. But I got Maia in winning his fight.
You think somehow he can in some scrambles end up being on the ground in at least a decent position with Woodley, is what you're thinking?
Yeah, I think the fight's going to be boring. I think he's just trying to try to control Woodley, because Woodley is a matchmaker too. He tries to control his tempo, throws his to the overhand right. Mm-hmm. He obviously gets his takedown when he wants. But what Damian is just such smart of the cage, and it's just it's a good fight to see.
Yeah.
But I got Maia with the judges, and I'm just looking to see what's going to happen.
Nice.
That's a tough one. I don't know.
It is going to be exciting.
I like both.
Yeah, they're both great fighters. How about John Jones coming back for the rematch with Daniel Cormier?
I like both. I know DC from wrestling. He's been watching me over the past years.
Right.
I just never seen nobody beat John Jones. I don't know how do you beat a man like that.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to say, but I'm gonna go with Jones because I just never seen nobody beat him before.
Yeah.
I never seen him lose. I can't go with somebody can't say somebody else going to win if I never seen the dude lose. And the dude looks extremely focused. His mind look right. He's happy. He's smiling.
Yep.
I'm looking to see a good fight. You naming some tough fights I can't name.
Yep, that's okay.
But,
it's okay.
I got to go John Jones.
I appreciate that. And, the fight that's coming up Friday, are you familiar with, you got Michael the Menace Johnson, a very tough guy. He didn't win against Khabib Nurmagomedov, but he's pretty much looked great against mostly everyone else. Are you familiar with the guy coming over from World Series of Fighting, Justin Gaethje, at all in that matchup? Or some people aren't familiar with Gaethje at all, the guy that was the 155er over in World Series of Fighting. You know him at all? That's fighting Michael? No problem. He's a tough guy, though. He's coming over for his first fight. Good wrestler, and that should be a good fight. And against Michael Johnson. And then how about the women? You watch the women at all? You think the Brazilian Amanda Nunes or the Russian Valentina Shevchenko? Any thoughts about the women? You watch them at all or not really?
Is the Brazilian the one that knocked out
Ronda Rousey, right?
Yeah, I like her.
Yeah,
I like her a lot. But I like her. Yeah, I like the champ. She's a champion too.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with her, the Brazilian. I just like her attitude, man, and her attitude. And I know she works hard because she just like she brings it, and she just have that mouth where she just like I'm that bitch, and I'm gonna be that for a while. So just the way she knocked out the champ, and then just stood humble. You don't get no better than that, man.
No,
You got my blessings.
Cool. And then the last one, how about Donald Cowboy Cerrone and Ruthless Robbie Lawler?
Oh, man. I got Cerrone.
Yeah.
Dude, the dude combinations, ever since he knocked that dude out with the boom body punch kick, I've been trying to work that in practice every
nice.
Day. And his combinations is ridiculous. So I'm going with Cerrone, and he's just a tough. I want to fight a dude like that who's just gonna come to bring it, who's just tough as hell the whole time, all 5 rounds. He's a problem.
Yeah.
But I like Robert Lawler too. So but I'm gonna go with Cerrone.
Sounds
just
good,
more sufficient. Not a brawler. More sufficient. He's gonna throw and kick and. More of a fighter to me.
Yeah, it makes sense. He's got such an arsenal, man, all the stuff he does. He's very tough. Could go either way on that, but I respect your calls, man. Well, I appreciate that you're watching the game, and I know we talked about that as a lot of people that are coming up are not familiar with anyone else, and I like that you're familiar with these people, watching them fight and everything like that, man, and so that's important. Well, I got to say that I'm going to be cheering for you, and no matter who you fight, it's going to be good. I would love to say I could get to New York. More than likely can't happen, but we'll be watching. I haven't missed a Bellator yet, and we will watch it and be cheering for you. And wherever you go next, I'm going to see if I can get there in person and let you know. But we're going to be following your career, man, and I believe in you a lot. Not a problem. You got a great attitude, and you got a great team, so I think you're just in the right spot to make big things happen.
Thank you, Coach. See you soon, man.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Joey. Have a great one, my friend. Talk to you soon. Good night. So that was Joey Black Ice Davis, really amazing guy. And I mean, look at the athleticism and look at the football, wrestling, prolific, undefeated record, training since he was 5-6 years old with Antonio and AJ McKee. Great attitude like that, helping to train young kids, volunteering his time. Really, really amazing guy. And I really believe it. And I'm being genuine. I like my guests and I respect my guests, or I wouldn't have them on. People are at different levels in their career, and I believe in my guests, and I cheer for people that I like. But I'm being 100% straight. And I think you will see some really good things from Joey Davis Jr. without a doubt. So look out for him and the team at Team Body Shop, AJ McKee and Baby Slice, and under the tutelage of Antonio McKee. So look out for them. They're going to be doing some serious stuff, as they always do, with a great attitude and a tremendous work ethic. So that, I think, is going to be just about it for the night. Really appreciate you guys hanging with us with a couple technical difficulties. Sometimes it's on our guest end, and we have a new studio here. Once in a blue moon, we've got to correct some things ourselves, but we're doing everything we can. That's why we would love to be able to get some deals. We're trying to work to happen where we're going to be in a studio with our guests there with some big-time cameras. And who knows? Is it going to be next week, next month, next year? Hopefully not as long as next year, because we really believe that we've got a show that that you guys like. You guys, I think, see my passion and my love for the sport. We're going to keep on bringing great people on, and we're going to keep on listening and featuring our guests and let them talk about who they are and what they're about, so that you guys can get to know them and really have some fun and and a great diversity of people on every episode. So we appreciate your support. The more support and love that you guys can give us, the better. And so please keep us in your mind with the shares, with the likes, with the views, and it'll really help us to be able to let people know that people are watching and people are listening, and we're going to be able to keep on bringing you even better shows. And hopefully, like I said, man, I would love to. I don't know if you guys remember that Best Damn Sports Show period where you had a few people just relaxing in the studio. Not that I'm saying I want 4 other hosts or anything like that, but I just like the idea of a relaxed, fun atmosphere with people just having a great chat with various different guests coming on. And so we could throw that at you. We could throw all kinds of different things at you if we can get the support and work a deal, get the sponsorship. We get the sponsorship. If anyone's watching or listening that has a lot of money, we get the sponsorship. We can rent the studio and put that all together. Otherwise, we're hoping to get a deal with a TV, a network or something that can make that deal happen themselves. But that's what we want. And in the meantime, we're going to keep doing what we do with our staff here at iFlexi and bringing you the MMA Power Hour and doing the very, very best we possibly can. So pretty much that is about it. Thanking our sponsors for now. We have Fuji Sports, we have Cross Train MMA Fighter, we have CombatPress.com, iFlexi. For Cross Train MMA Fighter, they do have that great deal now. You get shirts that probably are worth $35 or $40 for $15 plus shipping or pickup directly in LA. You can hit us up. We're good friends with them, and we can put you in touch. But that's an amazing deal. You don't want to miss that gear. It's really, really top quality. That's about it. Thank you guys so much for the love. Like I always say, look out for yourself. Hope you all made it through the 4th of July. I guess if you're listening, you did make it through. But take good care of yourself. Look out for yourself. Be careful. It's dangerous out there. So love yourself. Spread the love in a positive way to your neighbors, your friends, your family, your coworkers. Be that guy, be that girl, and make the world a better place. And we're gonna keep doing it from our end. So hate to go, but got to tell you that clock in the wall says it's time. This is Colin Crandall with the MMA Power Hour, and for tonight, I'm tapping out. Hey, this is Colin Crandall from the MMA Power Hour, brought to you by iFlexi Studios. The MMA Power Hour is a show produced by fighters, coaches, and fans of our sport of mixed martial arts, so it is dedicated to anyone out there involved. We have top contenders as well as world champions. We have legends and Hall of Famers in our sport. They're talking about themselves, how they got to where they are, who they are, what they're about, what projects they're involved in, as well as predicting huge upcoming MMA fights and a lot more. Let's get ready to feel the power. MMA Power Hour brought to you by iFlexi Studios.
Don't be acting so cool like you that wine. You fine, yeah you fine, and yeah I know that your shit tight. Damn right, but don't be acting so cool like you that wine. Cool like you that wine. Poolside, late night, I know you're shining up moonlight. Damn right, I wanna know what you look like. Late night, I'm trying to see what you taste like. like. That right. Let a nigga holla at you right. Show you some love, find the things in life. You know I'ma do your fucking right.
Yeah.
Give it to you, and then give it
I wanna get down with your hello girl. Little birdie told me you a bad little girl. Expensive taste, fine wine and pearls. But you best believe I'm finna rock that world. Skinny nigga from the west side. Couple bitches by the beach side. Blood lit by the moonlight. Finna give it to you all night. Yeah.
So we play fight. We don't rest till the daytime. Playtime.
Hey. Shorty on that drain, attitude on real stain. He take it to the bank, he don't give you what you like.
I know what you like, I know you can write like bite. You fuck with me, fuck the hype. Give it to you like it's mine, yeah.
And we both like designer. Best friend, go reminder. Lost your mind on the island. Where's up? Did you ever go find her? Okay. Ever had a nigga shoot straight? That's me. Did you own this new slate? Ain't wrong, little baby on a new way. Okay. Sipping wine with the Kool-Aid. Let's get it.
Let a nigga